7 o'clock, why don't we stand? We'll have the pledge of allegiance here. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Baby, can we get a roll call?
District Manager,
I'm here.
District Engineer,
Here.
C4.
Here.
For the record, C2 is not present. C5,
Here.
C3,
Here.
C1,
Here.
District Attorney,
Here.
District Treasurer,
Here.
all accounted for except for C2. I know that he had a family emergency. Not sure if he's gonna make it or not. He did not state that if he wasn't.
Okay. We had it here for a quorum. Thank you for that information. All right, next in line, we're gonna go to number 2. Do we have any additions, deletions, or substitution on the agenda items?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to have to do NCIC and FCIC, giving a record check to all employees of Central County and all the new applicants.
I'm not familiar with that again, so say that again, add to the agenda, what was that?
Do a criminal record check.
Dual?
Criminal record check.
Got you.
Of NCIC and FCIC. To all new applicants and all the employees of Central County.
And you said NCIC?
And FCIC,
Anybody on the board have any questions, comments, concerns? Nope. To add this to the agenda? Okay. We'll add it as an addition. Becky?
Also, the agenda item to be added was the request for the millings
Okay.
for roads, material.
Great.
It came in after the agenda was posted, so I said we would add it at this present moment.
Any comments from the board on adding that? All right. Thank you, Becky. All right, John, so we don't have any adoption of the, well, we have a slight adoption of the agenda with these 2 items. We have our last month, January 25 to 2023. Can we get a motion on the board to approve the meeting from January 25th, 2023? We have a motion on the floor by Supervisor Santana. We have a second? We have 2 seconds on the floor. All in favor? Aye. The meeting minutes for January 25th, 2023 is approved. At this moment, this is the opportunity for the public for their comments. If you have something to fill out, if you could fill it out, turn it into Becky or bring it up. This is your opportunity to speak. You're more than welcome to speak on about anything here. Anybody have anything to fill out? All right. With that being said, we'll move on to our next one. Over to new business on the agenda here. Discuss and vote on resolution of the quorum. Mr. Romero, report.
So as you recall, last month, at the request of yourself, I made some revisions to the policy on reform and public participation with a focus on the trespass and how does the trespass get repaired. I'll send you a draft via email if you need to.
Yes, sir.
So just, if you have any questions or comments, there's also a resolution if you decide to adopt it.
The floor is open. Anybody have any questions or comments? The resolution that was presented by Mr. Romero.
Mr. Komodo, this is the same article that we I think it's good.
Any other board supervisor have any questions, comments?
I have a question myself.
What was that?
You were talking to Mr. Bueno about the his email, and that thing is this referred to this.
No, sir, his email on the back, the last page. His talking. All right, so Supervisor Self, you have the floor.
Yeah, it's on Exhibit A, it'll be number 5 on the public comment. It's saying that at the discretion of the chair, they limit the amount that the community speaks depending on the amount of volume of people. That's, I'm not in agreement with that. I think, public comment is a basic right that community members have. And I know that, we don't want these meetings to drag on, but public comment plays a very, very big role on how we decide on most of our stuff. I'd like to, that's my disagreement with that section.
Talking about number 5 here.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else on the board? All right, Mr. Ferrero, what we need to do, I've looked it over. I personally looked it over several times. What do you need from us?
If it's acceptable, you vote on it. If you want to make modifications, vote on whether to make modifications and what those modifications are. Well, Chris just said, so I have a provision here, it's public comment, it's discretion of chair, so he's correct. So for example, it's really, the knowledge never been an issue with people have been, 3 minutes has been reduced, but you could have a situation where you have 100 people, and everybody wants to talk. So in those cases, which I don't ever recall that happening in 5 or 6 years, but if it were to happen, you could say, listen, we have 100 people here, please reduce your comments to 2 minutes.
That would be up to the chair.
It would be up to the chair. I mean, you discuss it, you could say, no, that's not right, I think we should let everybody speak for as long as they want, or whatever, that would be discussed.
What are you saying, Chris? Saying,
To give everybody 3 minutes and not to, just because the amount of volume of people, there's a lot of people here, they're here for a reason, and if you want to talk, you don't want to, me personally, I don't think you want to cut down the time. Even if we have to be here till 12 o'clock at night, we got voted on here to take care of these issues, and I mean, we have 1 meeting a month to take care of them. I think, it's the least that we could do, and that's in the better community. And even one of the other things that I like to recommend be amended is how an action item that's not put on the agenda, if there can be community input on it, because if it's not on the agenda, then the community can't talk about it, and then if we're to the next meeting, it's either contest it or bring it up. I think that's something that'd be good if we open up to the community.
Explain yourself on that, I'm sorry, a little bit.
So whenever there's certain things that gets kind of amended, yeah, to the meeting.
He's saying, for example, it's been a problem, but I think we've gotten a lot better than it was a few years ago, which is maybe a lot better. If you go to a meeting and someone says, oh, they buy a $200,000 tractor, so I want to talk about it, and then they vote. And the point which I agree is, especially if you're going to spend money, you shouldn't add it every day of the meeting. If it's not on the agenda, you should discuss it at the next meeting. Because this is how people, it's on the website, they go, oh, they're going to do this, well, I have an opinion on that. So that's a fair point. On the other one, Chris, the 3 minutes, I agree with you. If you put it in here, you've got, no matter what, you've locked in 3 minutes. There's now no discretion. It's always going to be 3 minutes, no matter the circumstances. once you put in this policy.
Completely understand, and I think it's the least that we can do.
Let me ask in reference to this one, because I could be wrong, but I think we made a good point, in our previous board that if we're gonna vote on something, it needs to be on there. If I'm not mistaken, it needs to be on the agenda. Now, I can't take away, like for instance, 2A, additions, deletions, substitutions to the agenda. Like 2 things just came on today. How do you curtail that?
Well, unless it's an emergency, or if it's just a discussion that doesn't involve spending tax money,
Sure.
you can talk about it. I don't know what these items are, so I couldn't tell you how important they are.
Sure.
One is, it's background checks, so I think that's harmless. If Mr. Santana wants to talk about doing background checks in a different way, that's not affecting the public,
So
that's
should
really what
we-
we make our employees do.
Right.
So I
Should we
don't think
limit-
there's a problem putting that on. It's really, to me, is when you're spending money,
I agree with that.
lots of money.
So maybe when we go to that, unless y'all want to take out the additions, I have no issue with either way. But I agree as far as spending money, I'd like to see some information ahead of time before any meeting. I'd like to see, be able to, at least, I can say I had an opportunity to look at it and then ask my questions to the staff and to the subject matter expert. I have no beef either way. But it can be, even if we did vote on something, we can say, hey, until we get more information, we can curtail that to another meeting. As far as the 3 minutes, it doesn't bother me, my personal opinion. As far as 3 minutes speaking or not. So, what do you guys want to do on the floor with this, resolution that Mr. Ramirez brought up? What's the board like to do?
What do you mean the resolution?
So, I gave you this draft. Chris was saying, on the page here where it says public comment can be, the amount of time for public comment can be changed. That's 3 minutes, but the chair has the discretion to change it. Chris is saying, no, I want it to always be 3 minutes. It cannot be changed.
I agree with what Mr. Self says.
Okay.
It should remain, up to now, we use 3 minutes, right?
Oh, we always do, I'm not aware of a time.
We have checked the specific time, this.
3 minutes, everybody, I've been here 2.5 years.
More, yeah.
3 minutes,
Because if we adopt this, then it could be lowered at the discretion of the chairman. If there's a lot of people and they want to cut it from 3 minutes to 1 minute or 2 minutes, I just don't agree that that's something that we should do. We should keep it at 3, regardless if there's 100 people.
I agree with you, I agree.
So if everyone agrees with that, I can make that change.
So everybody in agreement?
I agree on that, 3 minutes is really good.
All right, got that one, make an adjustment to that one. Is that it?
And about the agenda items that are, what we just explained now, if it's something that just pops up, to allow the community to speak on it, apart from that.
That's different than,
Even though if it's not in the agenda?
Yeah, like what we're just explaining now, if there's something that comes up and we might have to vote on it, somebody makes it becomes an action item that we have to take action on.
Sure.
Just to get the input of the community, because that can happen even later on after public comment. And just so if something does pop up for whatever reason, we still give the community the option to speak on it if they want. Which that could be, like what Hendry County adopted is a minute. Or even 3 minutes.
yeah, I think they agreed on the 3 minutes.
Yeah, but now he's saying that, so we can bring something that anybody in the audience.
So so you was trying to say, for instance, you just added something, right?
Right.
Let's say if it's an importance in the community, like, hey, you just brought this to the table, you want to vote on it, we just heard about it. They should be able to look at the information that's posted online, because our agenda is posted online. They should be able to see what we're going to discuss. So if they have input, they're able to have input at the meeting.
Well, my opinion on that is, I believe if somebody brings something up, we should put it for the next meeting agenda. we should concentrate in the issues that we have for the agenda that day. Because that way everybody can be bringing whatever they want to, and then we have to add it up I think,
So I can write it this way. If an agenda item involves the expenditure of public funds, it must be on the agenda, which requires 7 days prior notice. But in some cases, let's say, well, what Santana just added, it's not really expenditure of funds, or let's say someone just wanted to put an item on the agenda to talk about a topic, and not necessarily act on it or spend money. That could be okay? So I'll just, expending public funds. Okay.
no, what I'm saying is, if somebody brings something that is not in the agenda, it should not be put in that day.
Right,
If we want to put it on the agenda or for the next meeting.
right. Okay,
Yeah.
I will make those 2 changes.
So you can't come last minute and say, hey, by the way, I want to add on something.
No, listen.
Money.
We're talking about
Like last month.
I'm involved. I'm talking about anybody of them, because let's say we.
We're talking about.
No, he's talking about the board.
He's talking about the board?
Yes.
I misunderstood. I thought anybody should be.
No, the people don't, it's the board members that.
No, that have been like that, no, that have been like that. Addition and deletion, you know what I'm saying? So, no, it's okay.
It's not that.
No, it's okay, I mean,
It's not the constituents.
I misunderstood with the mother, I misunderstood.
I hear you. It's the constituents.
I misunderstood.
So what he's saying, if, we'll add it on there, but if it has to do with money and expending the expenditures, we'd have to probably wait until everybody and even the, you know. the
I agree,
people
I
have
agree.
Opportunity to see it.
I agree,
I
100%.
have no issue with that.
Yes, sir.
So you want to make some clarifications and send an email out to everybody to look at it again and
Yeah.
we'll vote on it.
And it'll be the 4th time it goes on the agenda.
If it takes 6
Yeah.
times, it takes 6 times.
Okay.
We gotta get it right.
I'll make these changes. I'll email it to everybody before the next board meeting.
Appreciate it. So I'll just get down here. All right, we have another one, vote on the government resource list. Supervisor Self, you have the floor on this one?
Yeah, I was asked by a couple community members, who's our overwatch, and if there's something that the county can't resolve for them, who would they go to? Would be another avenue. Like governor's office and, ethics committee, Florida Bar, Southwest Florida Water Management, or South Florida actually, and stuff like that. I want to know if Central County could provide a courtesy list of everybody that oversees us, everybody above us, so if they come in and they want to know how to get a hold of the governor's office or the district or whoever it may be that pertains to us, that can be given to them, that it can be put on our website too.
The only one that supervises is the governor, right?
No.
Yeah, really.
Well, it's not, maybe supervise isn't.
I mean, the only one that have power over us is the governor.
No, what he means is if anybody wants to put a claim or
Anything, just even a general
anything,
question.
if they want to put anything against a board member, please tell Jose is that he wants the public to have access to the ethics committee, or if anybody has anything about the reservoir, for the public to have access to communicate with South Florida Water Management. That's what he meant.
They already,
No, they
They already have
access.
done it.
He
They already have
wants us to educate.
They already have-
the agencies. Yeah. Can do that.
Any questions from the board?
no, what I'm saying is they already have access. The public, they already have access to make.
If they come in and they ask for that, y'all have something to give to them?
What we do, whoever come in through the door, we give them the information. We just jump into the website right there and we give them the address and the phone number or
Okay.
whatever, or the
Yeah.
call or for, for whatever.
Right.
What we have for everybody else is, we have a 2 pages form for, anything except, like, the ethical meter, and, you know, the governor and stuff like that. We have the core, we have the building and so on.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff. If you guys want to add it, we could have to do a form for like
But you-
government resources. So.
But I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't think we need to vote on something. We could add, put something together with the contact information to government officials.
Not really. I mean, we've been doing it, but, you know, they come through the door, like I said, and they ask for this. A lot of them are not really informed where to get what they need. So they end in our office and we just give them the address or the phone number.
Is that what you're making reference to, Supervisor Shuffle, that kind of?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we don't have to vote on it. I just brought it, you know, as an action item.
Like a
to the
little
board.
cheat sheet, like a little sheet, here's
Yeah.
your contact list, whatever.
Yeah, but they come in, they ask for it, and everything's already there.
You guys that big of a deal, John? Becky?
So it will be a good idea for Mr. Self to send us a list of
List of other.
whatever you want to be on that
Okay.
pages or pages.
Alright, moving on to the next one, C, discuss and vote reservoir security and corpse accessible gate. Mr. Self, Supervisor
Yeah.
Self?
I think that we should get rid of the reservoir security. I've asked many times for how many people goes in and stuff, and they don't provide a list to us. It's costing us about 40, what is it, about a year, 40,000? For security, 42. And, I think that's a lot, yeah. But I think that's a lot of money, and I think we could do something cheaper and probably save the community at least probably about $40,000. And, I submitted a couple of ideas. Y'all should have them in your packet, different gates and stuff that certain national parks have been using, is to keep ATVs and motorized vehicles out of there.
Which one do you propose, or which one do you?
Well, there's a variety of them, and just if everybody wants to go through them, look at them, and if, at the next meeting, if we want to move forward with it, again, security and allocating some of the money towards building this for the horses and wheelchair access if somebody decides they want to take the wheelchair back
See,
in.
because some of these, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Some of these won't work.
It's no same thing, but how it's used.
Some of these won't work because I've seen 4 guys pick up a 4-wheeler and put it over the gate that we have now. So, like, stuff like this, that's easy for
Yeah.
anybody to access. So some of these things, I mean, personally, with what we have, I've seen people do it, physically people do it. So I think with what we have going on, it has to be something maybe like a little more robust. I'm pretty sure there's something that we can do. Some of these things, it's just temporary, some of our people do.
Yeah.
Or even visitors do.
Yeah, if anybody has better ideas, I mean, more very open to it.
I believe it's important that we keep the security there. Anything can happen, even an accident, even whatever, it's good to know. He can call in and make a statement of what happened, share it, what we need to do.
You know what days he's out there?
Yeah, Friday from, what time, Ricky? Friday.
After 5? After 5 to midnight, and then on Saturday, they have 12-hour shifts, and they basically play with the time, so people don't get used to them just sitting there and being there.
Do you know how many people comes in on a weekly basis or a monthly or yearly?
Into the
To the
reservoir?
reservoir, yeah.
Not lately, no,
Right.
because we don't have a list because nobody has the key. We changed the lock.
So he opens the keys for the people that wants to go in.
He doesn't open it. That's just so nobody goes in with a 4-wheeler. The purpose for the security guard is so that nobody that has a vehicle is riding through. If they have horses or they want to walk through, they can walk through, you know, or go around the side with the horse. But that's it, you know. But anybody that's trying to get through with a vehicle, they're not letting it pass. That's why he's still there.
We stopped getting the list to the security after it was closed for motorized vehicles. It was only walking.
Yeah.
At that point, we didn't need the keys because.
So the lock at the gate has changed, nobody in Monterey has a key?
No, the lock at the gate is still the same. It hasn't been changed. So the people that has the people that still has the key
Still get it?
didn't come back for the refund or whatever. Some of those.
Yes,
are
correction.
But I do have one question. If the thing is the horses, because we went through it before with Mr. Santana, and if I may, what we end up with that is that the horse is way wider than a dirt bike.
Yeah.
So if the issue is the horses, is it going to be a lot easier to sell the keys again to whoever wants to go in there with the horses? And that's it.
Well, first we gotta figure out the legal side of that, if we can or can't do that.
But to sell the key?
Yes.
Well, that's what we've been doing for years.
Understand?
That would be a question for Mr. Romero.
I just wanted to make a correction. What Emilio said was correct about the key. We gave refunds because the board said to give the refunds back to those that wanted the refund. And as we called and they wanted it, we have that key. Those that wanted to keep it in case the reservoir ever opened again, still have their key. That's correct.
Right, because the point is like right now while we're having this meeting, if somebody went out there, they could open the gate, go in, close it, and we'll never know. Correct?
Correct.
So,
And that's the way it's always been.
We have been discussing this for a while. The thing is, on the weekend, you were born here. On the weekend is when the people are doing up their bring in, this, that, Florida, different places. That's when they go wild, and that's when they decide crazy things. That's when they might decide to reconvene.
yeah.
I don't know.
So motion B is to terminate reservoir security. And for us to vote on some sort of gate or something that will not be accessible to dirt bikes or ATVs, anything motorized, where horses can still go through there.
Motorcycle. The horse goes to there, a motorcycle, dirt bike that goes to there. Easy.
Even a four-wheeler.
Even a four-wheeler.
Even a medium-sized four-wheeler.
Terminate reservoir security and have horse accessibility, right?
Yeah.
All right. Any, we'll put it to the board, any comments from the board?
Recently, there's been a spike in ATVs and four-wheelers in Montour, riding the canals, all through Pioneer, by Woodland, where's the other one? Appaloosa, Perimeter. And I tell a lot of the residents, call the sheriff's office, take pictures, document it, report it. And the reason why the security is there is to prevent them from going in the reservoir to get us state fines from the water control district. When they deal with it on our roads and our canals, yes, we still have to go back at that and repair it and fix it, but we leave that up to the sheriff's office to regulate and to deal with. So if we can prevent them from damaging something that, whichever way we look at it, is a double-bladed sword, we still have to cough up the money. If 40, 60,000 a year to prevent $500 to $500,000 from them damaging the reservoir, I think is a plus. And we just have to educate the community, educate everyone. When you see them, document, take pictures, and report it to the sheriff's office so they can follow through and catch the people who are doing it. Because if we remove them from that gate, I can put money on it. By the next weekend, that reservoir will go right back to what it was. And we have no one. We don't have our own police department. By the time we get the sheriff's office out there, who knows? They're probably gone or they're on the next canal. So my personal opinion is yes, I understand it is a lot of money just to have someone sit there, but it's a preventative from us having to pay $500,000. Now, if we can find some kind of middle way with the sheriff's office and having a permanent deputy, 24 hours, 7 days a week. When you call, they're here. Then that's a whole nother story. But until then, that is something that I think is a plus. And that's something that we can tell the community is we're preventing from us having to pay all of those fines on that. But that's my opinion.
Anybody else on the board?
I agree.
We're gonna get a fine, you know, they might be showing the reservoir. I mean, it's not worth to get rid of them.
So I got one more thing that, so if we're worried about preventing people from going in there, then why is there still a lock that's still accessible to residents that can still go in there right now?
Just tell the,
Sorry, what was it?
cut the lock, don't put a different lock on it.
That, no, because we're talking about preventing people from going in there, but we still have the same lock that's still accessible to landowners.
Well, no, we're not preventing people to go in there, we're preventing motorized vehicles to go in there.
Okay. But if somebody has a key, they can still take a forward in there whenever the security guard is not there.
Right.
So we're not preventing nothing.
We are preventing something. A lot. We're preventing a lot, to be honest with you, that's the key.
But the security isn't there.
Well,
You have a key, you go up to, you open it, you can go right in there.
I have video cameras at the clubhouse. There's still the whole system on the video. I have cameras. You know.
So can we get a motion? The motion would be,
Then sheriff department does not work in the reservoir.
No, they don't.
so can I get a motion on the floor to terminate the reservoir security and then have horse accessibility? Get a motion on the floor.
Any motion?
We have a motion by Supervisor Self. We have a second. No second. Motion failed. Moving on to number D, discuss and vote on public decorum.
Yeah, we already,
Supervisor Self.
if we could skip past that, we already spoke about it whenever John brought it up.
All right, and the next one is E, discuss and vote landowner elections. Supervisor Self, you have the floor.
So first, I'd like to ask John a question. John, is there a way that we could go to 5 general elections positions instead of 3 land and 2 general? Would there be anything that take us out of 298, or we have to keep 1 landowner, or we could go all 5 general?
You could go all five. You have to change the law.
Yeah, we'd have to go through legislation and so on. Yeah.
So, can I say something, Chairman?
You still have the floor.
Yeah. Then one of the increasing things that we see during landowner elections, that we have a lot of people that's involved in real estate now. And usually the elections are controlled by 5-6 individuals that own, 20 plus acres of land. And 5 people pretty much dictates the landowner elections. And most of them are just in real estate, they're in there for the business. So it's actually 3 landowner positions. So even if 100 community members came out and voted, there's 5 real estate companies that are coming and outvote the community. So, and I think that if we go to general, if we go to 1 person, 1 vote, it really helped the community vote in who they want, instead of, businesses coming in and so on. Because most of the people that are real estate, that are involved in real estate, doesn't even live here. And then and any real estate agent that owns that amount of land could actually sit up here and not live here. So that's something that I think, and we've had a lot of issues with landowner elections over the years since the beginning, for many years. So I think it's going to be something that will be a positive change, and probably help, the community come out and vote more. If anybody has any questions or
Yeah.
concerns?
Yeah, I want to give my opinion. These have been like that since Montreal United States was created. Like, becomes
It used to be,
elections.
all 5 seats were landowners.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Then they changed it, they put 2
Exactly.
general.
It was 3 seats.
Changed,
Exactly, it was 3 seats.
So,
15 years ago?
yeah. So what I'm saying is, that's below the land, Why are we going to go ahead now and change it to get an election? I believe what you're saying that maybe somebody have 40, 50 parcels
Yeah.
of land. That's his prerogative. That's his right. He's the owner of 15, got 50 votes. He's the owner of one, got 1 vote. It's 1 vote per parcel. Right. And I believe that's fair. I believe that's fair. If somebody don't want to participate in that, they can go ahead and participate in getting an election. Let me tell you something. I like to do this. I know you're supposed to work with each other, but I have to express myself openly every time. You know, you were elected with no opposition. I mean, you just have a free leeway. No, congratulations. I'm happy that you're here on the board. You just have to be on the board because you can. But what I'm saying is, a situation like that, I disagree. You know what I'm saying? I mean, talking about in general, I'm not talking about now when he was elected, but I'm talking in general. If somebody don't have an opposition, it should be way or pending into that person having a position in order to have an election. Because to me, this is the way I see it. Having an election of only 1 person, that reminds me of Cuba. Castro was elected every election when it exploded or whatever. You know what I'm saying? The system here, in the United States, the democratic system, should be when there is an election, a few different candidates should participate. So I see that worse that having the landowner election, that every, person that have, no matter how many parcels, will have the right to vote, maybe 20 votes, 30 votes, 10 votes. That's the law of the land.
Yeah, one question. So let's say me personally, I own 50.
Let's let these guys.
Okay.
Anybody have any?
No, I'm listening, go ahead, go ahead.
You have any?
I'm good.
Do you have any comment?
Yeah. Theoretical, if we change our 298 into a township,
Yeah.
city,
All this goes.
all this goes away,
100%.
and it does go to general population, correct? Right now, our 298 lets the landowners, which basically all of Montora is like that, and that's why they gave us the general 2 seats, so that the people who rent here, they don't physically own anything, they get to say and speak up and have an opinion, correct? So regardless of if we change this, because I know the board is looking for helping grow Montour in the right way. If we go to the state and we say, hey, we want to change our 298, this will come eventually.
I mean, one doesn't have anything to do with the other. Just because you all get elected by residents doesn't make it easier or harder.
No, what I'm saying is, if we become a township or a city,
Whatever.
this is a
Done
must.
away with.
Correct. Okay.
What
So
we have right now is gonna be done away with. It'll be,
Yes.
that's what it is.
so within steps, eventually we'll get there. If yeah.
Eventually.
Okay.
That's the path.
So so here's my 2 cents on it, and I appreciate that, and I've heard people say that. Here's what I disagree. This past year's election, I think it was less than 1%. What was it? 1%? Yes.
Popular election,
No, for landowner.
Fraction.
it was not even 1%.
Right. So, again, most places, except here, do proxy voting, correct? We don't allow that. The least we can do is, and we make people present to vote. They have to be present to vote. So everybody knows that they come. And we've had the lowest turnout than ever before. The problem that I see as a landowner, and most of you that are here landowners, with what you're proposing, you can have 5 people sit on this seat and not even live in Montour.
They have to live in Montour.
No,
general.
they live in
general
Monterey,
position.
they wouldn't pay taxes in Monterey.
Okay, I agree with that, but I disagree with that. But so you can make decisions on behalf of Montura and just, say for instance, pay rent or have an address in Montura.
We're not handling that one.
Alright, so for you to be in the general. Go ahead.
So there's where I disagree as a landowner. I don't want to see, me personally, 5 people that can actually, well, I stay with my aunt over here, and my driver license says something South Cabbage Farm, and we could have 5 different people that actually sort of not own property, but have a residence here and make decisions on behalf of everything that we do. So there's where I, as a landowner, as a matter of fact, John, a lot of people have asked me, why can't we go back to all the seats being landowners and actually have a workshop with the people with our community and ask the people to say, hey, how do you want it? Do you want to see 5 different people that maybe don't own property here and make decisions on behalf of us? Or would we like to have 5 landowners that actually live in Montreal and hold and fight for the people of Montreal?
Yeah. Alright, so to hold a general position, you have to live in Monterey. Your precinct has to be here, right?
You don't have to be on.
You have to live here.
You don't have to be on.
In general, for landowner, you can own land here, but you don't have to live here. Right. So at the end of the day, it's going back to what you said, Mr. Chairman. You can still own land here, not sit, or not even live here, and still run for a board position. If I ran for a landowner position, let's say I live in Miami.
Sure.
I own land.
Sure.
I could throw my name in the hat for a landowner position. I get voted in.
Sure.
Every meeting I drive from Miami down here to make decisions.
Sure.
A place I've never lived in. I just own it. Let's say I'm in real estate. Even worse. Now I'm making decisions. And then by me holding, let's say, 50, 60 properties, my vote could get 2 more people in to help me coerce the board to go certain directions.
Good.
So once you go into general, it's 1 person, 1 vote. And then the other thing too is that if you don't pay your taxes, you can't vote.
That's what they say.
Which is another issue. Because and I understand that's how landowner goes, but if you do general, as long as you're a registered voter, you get to do that. And then the other thing that it does is that it keeps real estate, anybody with big amounts of property from coming up here and dictating what, the community wants. Because in general, you have to live here. That's a problem we have one of the other board members. He was in general, a registered voter here. He took Liston, and he changed his address. That's why he had to get out. So if you're a landowner here, you don't have to live here. And you can still sit up here and dictate everything you want.
But I disagree with you because, so watch this. Are you finished with that one?
Yeah.
Because you really can't dictate anything. Watch this. I am one of how many people up here? How can one person dictate how the board votes? I can't. One person can't do anything on this board. Not one person can do anything.
If you own 50 properties,
you can put somebody on the board.
and if another person owns 50 property, so imagine if us 2 own 50 properties, that's 100. Let's say everybody in this room, which outdoes us by 400%, we outvote the community.
But it didn't happen. This was the closest ever landowners race there's ever been.
Okay.
How many votes did I win by?
Can I say something for
Hold
a
on a
second?
second. How many did I win by? 10? I won by 10 votes. Less than 1%.
So welcome to case. This is the thing. Years ago,
This was the best case of democracy and of election.
No,
There's no proxy voting, which everybody does. Every 298 does proxy voting. That hasn't been done here because everybody says you'll be cheating. And there is a possibility of that.
well, I mean, we
And everything that we have done here, we stress at it. But again, it's in the people and the owners is key to.
I understand. If 1 person, 1 vote is too much of a problem, you know what? We'll keep it the same.
No, you're able to bring to your, again, everybody has a 2 cent what
The
to
thing
say.
is that, Mr. Chairman, this is not a new issue. We had it happen 2 elections ago. We had fake names, right? I mean, to speak the truth, we had people turning in fake absentee ballots, fake names, people that was given more votes than what they were supposed to. And that didn't happen during general elections, it happened during landowner elections. And it just didn't happen once or twice, it's been happening for over 25 years. So apparently the problem is within the landowner election, not the general, because when it goes to general, it goes to Brenda Hoots.
So
And it's-
what happened with this election? I won by 10 votes, 10, 11 votes.
Let me say something.
So
My
let's
election
go,
was
let's say
a
real
clean
estate
election.
gets involved and they vote for you, right? Let's just per se, because you're a landowner.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and each one of them holds 10 votes, that's 50 votes.
Sure.
Imagine 5 people, that carries 50 votes, and then 5 of us comes in here, we only have 1 acre,
So
we
watch
only
this.
have 1 vote apiece, that's 5 against 50.
So we have approximately 7,000 landowners.
Mm-hmm.
I only got 100, how many votes did I get, 100?
Right.
Huh?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you the reason why.
So
and the community needs
where's
to-
the 6,900
I'm gonna tell
other
you, I'm gonna
voters?
answer that question. So, two elections ago, whenever we exposed what happened with the elections and we told the community what was going on, you know what was the negative effect of that? They said, that's why I don't vote. That's why, Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna tell you that's why they don't come and vote. You know why? Because they don't trust in the system. That's why less of them came then and voted. And then now, if you go to general, what's the outcome? Skyrockets.
Well,
People,
Chris,
because of the
actually-
elect, because the government,
actually-
because of the presidency, that's why.
in the,
The presidency.
Even more
Chris,
reason
you-
to vote for general, because more people come out and vote.
You were elected
You got the-
by the general election.
Yes,
You
sir.
have no opposition.
That's
So
not,
I mean,
that's not the
the,
point.
no, but what you're saying is, the last owner election, more people participated than in the general election. In the general election, you have no opposition. So, nobody participated.
Well, so,
So,
let's make a vote on.
let me say something.
Okay.
By what he was saying, okay? I've been here for over
Think about
2 years. I've been in my seat for over 2 years, okay? And every time we're gonna vote on an issue, I'm talking about in general, I see everything is clear, mighty clear. Sometimes some of us agree, sometimes some of us disagree. But I'm telling you, I don't see nothing wrong. I don't see the influence of nobody from the outside. As far as I've been here, and everything has been clean. So there is no influence over me. There is no influence over Mr. Mata. And I'm sure there is no influence over Mr. Moreno. We are all runs our seats. So the main thing is to me, and also for Mr. Santiago, the main thing for me is that we have a moral principle. Okay, cool. Now we don't want to be allowing anybody to tell us what to do. We do whatever is better for the residents of Ventura Ranch State, regardless if you are a general election, being elected by general election or by landslide.
How would you like to be presented?
So the motion is for Mr. Primero to look into what it'll take for legislation to change this to, it'll be actually 3 positions.
well, president needs to be voted.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm asking how to present it to the board. To go to legislation to make this, how would you phrase it?
To have the 3 landowner positions changed to general. Make a total of 5 generals, 1 person, 1 vote.
All right, board, so we have a motion, we have to put the vote to present to legislation to put the 3 landowners into general votes, right, general
Yes, sir.
population? All right, general population for the next election and going forward. Do we have a motion on the floor?
Have a motion.
So we have a motion on the floor by Supervisor Surf. Do we have a second? All right, motion does not pass for this. Moving on.
May I make a comment? So, this is an issue that in the 298 district where I live was a really big deal. I live in the Lake Worth Drainage District. So it's the Broward County, Palm Beach County line, all the way to Southern Boulevards. It's big.
Is it 298?
298 district, yeah. I have a Lake Worth Drainage canal that runs right by my house. That gives us drainage, flood protection.
That's Palm Beach.
Boca Raton to going to West Palm Beach. It's big. And it's very urban. And for 100 years, it was controlled by the farmers who owned a couple hundred acres out west. And they, it was very urban, so they kept pushing because literally 3 farming families controlled that board for 100 years.
They owned all the land,
They didn't own a lot of land,
but it's enough to control.
I was one of them. They owned, 200-300 acres here, another family owned 200-300 acres there, and it never passed. They gave them 1 seat. 1 seat is general election. And to this day, it's run by those families. And there was a lot of debates that went on, and it's kind of like, on the one hand, if it's all residents, then it's handled by the supervisor of elections, which is really nice.
Sure.
It's a tried and proven program. So it's handled by them, and if you show residents here, that's good enough. That's a good thing. You know, on the other hand, you can have 5 people here that rent a trailer. They can vote every month to increase the taxes, and they could care less, because it doesn't impact them, it only impacts the landowner. So like so many things in life, everything is a trade-off.
Yeah, and the owner of the property can vote through general election to 4 board members, so as much as
Right.
the renter can
But
too.
who cares more about the community? A guy who's renting a trailer, or a guy who has $500,000 in property here?
Well,
Who
and
cares
then,
more?
and then the other thing too is that who controls the majority of the land, real estate.
So nobody. So how many lots are there here?
Approximately 6,500 to 7,000.
Yeah.
Okay. I know once upon a time, I forgot the name, it was a doctor owned hundreds of
Doc Hill?
Yeah, Hill Foundation.
Yeah.
I've heard they own like maybe 20, 30 acres now, not much. There's really no person in Montura owns more than 1% of the land. Nobody. I would say if the biggest landowners maybe own 0.2% of the land. So, you know the old saying, the tail wagging the dog, have you heard that? So Chris's point is a good one. At these elections, we don't want a person, I don't care who they are, I don't care if they live here or they don't live here, you don't want one person swinging an election one way or the other. That's a legitimate problem.
Just 20 votes out of 100, that's a
Right.
lot.
So that's a legitimate
And that's
problem.
1 out of many people that owns large.
Right, so that's the problem we have to solve, because it's a real problem, I agree. But you don't turn the system upside down to solve the problem. What you do is until people come out and vote, that's the thing, you're gonna turn the system on its ear and say, you don't have to own, you don't have to have any skin in the game, you just have to rent something here and you can sit on the board because of low attendance. You know, let's try to earn the credibility back so people will come and vote. There's gotta be a way, that's the way to fix that problem. I can say I've been here, I don't know, 6, 7 years, there's never been a good turnout, ever. I don't know why. You know more than I do.
Well, let me tell you, Jason, we turn around. Even in South Florida, the same thing.
So you
I
think
the
there's
same
a
thing, Miami, the same thing.
Yeah, a presidential election, which is the highest, less than 30% of the people.
This is a free.
In a non-presidential, this is general stats. In a
But-
non-presidential election,
but if
less
I-
than 15%.
If I can say, the reason why a lot of Montour residents don't vote and landowners don't vote is 1, education. If you inform them of who they're voting for, what they're voting for, and how it impacts them, it will really rapidly change their mindset and drive them to wanting to make a difference. A lot of the residents here in Montour, they don't understand the vast importance in getting out and voting and how it can affect you by implementing and voting for leaders that you in place. This board was elected by them to serve them. None of us here are their bosses, they're our bosses. I tell every single community member that. And it goes for every county official, every state official. We work for our constituents. And once you empower that in them and you tell everybody, each and every one of them that sit out there, you are our bosses. If you don't like something that you see that's happening in your community, your county, your state, the next election, get out and vote. And I have told them that when I ran in 2020, when we were going through COVID, and a lot of people got out and voted. the second election that went on, a lot of people
Or run
came
for
out.
office.
A lot of people came out and voted. And I tell them, educate yourself so you understand who you're voting for and what difference you're making. A lot of people are upset about what happened with the schools. I told them, get out and vote. A lot of them did, and they voted for a great person to represent our district in the school. A lot of them are upset about what's happening in the sheriff's office. I tell each and every one of them, you don't like the leader that's in place, get out and vote. And many of them will tell you, I say the same thing all the time, and it shows. When you get out and vote, it shows what you want. Changing this is just, it makes it, like my grandfather said, my grandmother said, don't fix something that's not broken until it's broke. And it never made sense until it really happened. If someone you feel is corrupt and you feel like they need to go, get out and say, hey, it's time for this person to step down. If they're not gonna step down, we need a vote. When Rolly sat up here, many people can raise their hands and say, everybody in the community emailed, called, and said he's corrupt, he's this and that. What did the community do? They went on a storm. They said he needs to resign, he needs to be moved. Why? Because they came together as a community, and what did he do? He resigned July 15th, and we all seen his resignation letter. Simple as that. Our community, our constituents, every single person we serve, that's what we have to tell them. Not saying change it from landowner. Get out and vote. You don't like what's happening in your community. You don't see no improvements. You don't see no change. Don't stay home and say, oh, well, this has been happening for 20-something years. No, get out and vote and make a difference. I ran to make a difference, and each and everything that I came up here to do, with the help of the board, we fulfilled and we did. It may not have happened overnight, and we still have a long journey to go, but I tell each and every person I see, you don't like what's happening in your community, get out and vote, educate yourself. Sorry.
3 minutes are up.
I just want to say that you mentioned that you mentioned Sherry, Steve Williams. I just want to make a point because Sherry, Steve Williams, to me, is the best Sherry in the state.
We got a question for John. John, since you live in a 298, would you rather see in your community 5 generals or 3 landlord or 2 generals? Your honest opinion.
Because of the public, I live in an urban community.
From what you're going through.
I would have 5 general elections.
Thank you.
He's entitled to the pay. Same way you're entitled.
Well, we're entitled
No,
to
absolutely.
our opinions.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on. District manager's report.
You still got more stuff on the agenda?
We do.
Oh, yeah, Santana's.
Yeah.
Hey, how you play?
Because
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, you want me to lay it?
we added the agenda for the
Yes.
critical NCIC and FCIC.
See, you learn.
Yes, sir, I am
You
learning
learn.
every day. Talk to us.
By the way, NCIC means National Criminal Investigation Center. And FCIC means Florida Criminal Investigation Center. Okay? So, to do the background checks of the new employees for Central County Board of Police, we should do the background check using a method that check the NCIC and the FCIC to determine if that person have a criminal history.
Okay.
As far as I know, all the employees that we have here working in the Central County Board, they have not been given a criminal record check. Because we,
Hold on a minute.
I do.
no, I have talked to you, and the company that is in place right now, they don't do NCIC and FCIC.
Keep going.
They don't do it. They just do a simple information investigation. Okay?
It's not simple.
Hold on.
Listen, they don't do a criminal record
Have
check.
you ever seen the report?
Yes, I see.
You got.
I mean, I see a report that Becky put on the email. Okay?
It usually has, on your report, it usually has where they live 1,000 places all over the country.
It's like they have any tickets.
Every car.
Yeah, but they don't do
And all their-
criminal records.
Yes.
I would like to see. I would like to see.
I I have a problem with that.
I would like to see it. Well, you told me here in a meeting a long time ago, almost a year ago, but you didn't know that you were going to check it.
Yeah, I don't know NCIS, FC, I don't know, but I can tell you.
Well, that's the criminal record.
Okay, but I can tell you, whatever the reports we get, do criminal, every criminal, misdemeanor, felony, any charge, whether you were convicted or not, all of
Let me
it.
give you one. If you don't do an NCIC, an FCIC, you don't do a criminal record check.
Yeah, listen, I don't know, and all I'm telling you is, we do background checks, and the exhaustive criminal records are in there.
That's an information. If they have a sponge record, it doesn't show
That's
that.
fine, from earlier. So, anything else?
Yeah, that, what I'm saying is, what I want to bring is, every county, we have Central County Board of Police, all employees, Central County Board of Police, to have a NCIC, an FCIC criminal record check, with no exception. So we want to know if they have a criminal record. Why? Because our family live here, all the residents from Ventura Ranch are here, and we want for them to be safe. We don't want nobody with a criminal record that is a thief, or is a rapist, or is a, God forbid, whatever, have a record being driving around, okay, in our community. And that could be happening.
Yeah, 'cause
Well, we do have a lot of people with records driving around the community.
No, I'm saying employees. No, I'm talking about employees of Central County Board of Police.
The board have any questions?
Yes. Under my understanding, the last investigation that was held, you said that we did do national background check.
So, the company that we use, now, when I first came here, we used a local company.
Yeah.
And it was a mess.
Yeah.
And so we use a national company. What database they use, I have no idea. I don't know.
I'm gonna shoot. They stated in this
Hold
report.
on, you know more about this than I do, trust me, I don't know, maybe the service we use uses those, I don't know, where's, the inspection manager?
She must be on
No,
the.
If she brings one of those, we can look at it quickly and see, but they, I don't know what database they use. For all I know, they could use that database.
No. It's one, I read this report, and I'm gonna show it to you right now. They said, they will do even a record check. If they have a sponge and all that, it's here. I'm gonna show it to you right now.
Yeah, because if they don't use, and I agree with Santana, if they don't use the national federal background check, we really don't know, because we can have people who come from different states, and if they do a county background check for $10, it's only gonna tell you what happens in the county. It won't tell you what happens in neighboring counties and
This is
stuff
in
like that.
Florida, I don't know if it goes out of state, but
Mr. Fumero, what they do is an information report check. That's right. Information report check. They don't know, keep it in the record.
Yes, sir.
we're talking about background checks.
Yes.
Hold on.
No, we'll let her finish it out.
So Mr. Santana says that the background checks that we do don't include criminal history.
The ones from your office?
Be more specific. Does it go through the NCIC and FCIC?
No,
Yea or nay?
no,
They don't have a criminal record check.
no.
That's all, that's fine.
That's it.
So it doesn't have their
Open
criminal
information
record
check.
check.
Yeah, the floor.
It pulls anything that is public information that's in the court system that is being reported. It will pull everything from the DMV, from all of that information.
That's
It
an
does
information-
generate.
That's an information check. It's not a criminal record check.
So again,
Wait,
But-
hold on, because we're not gonna talk out of turn. Please, we're getting out of line. This is
So-
not this work.
we also
Thank
do,
you, Mama, because we're good. We're good.
how about the life scan? Because
It's-
that's a FBI level too.
I understand, but what we're asking, the
Okay.
question on the floor is, do we do an NCIC and an FCIC is the question?
No.
All right, you have the floor.
So for the clubhouse, I guess they use the FCIC for the clubhouse? The
We
hands,
do level.
the fingerprint?
Fingerprint level.
Okay, because I know that's one of the things that I asked about, because I know some of the workers from here, whenever they do events and stuff, they do go to the clubhouse and they are working around the children. And the ones that are here, they're at a lower level, background check. So my opinion is that anybody
Yeah.
in Central County should just do FCIC so we know who's around our
I
children.
have seriously.
Yeah.
Right. And I know that the question is gonna be that there's a money cost behind it too.
It's always a cost.
Not,
Yeah.
okay, so actually, me and Becky were already planning for that, so
Yeah.
for the new years coming on the summer camp, we will do, fingerprint level 2 for everybody
Even here.
in Central Camp.
Everybody, even here.
Everybody in Central Camp.
Okay.
Is that including the board members too?
We can do all that. It won't stop anybody from being a board member regardless, but either way.
What I'm proposing, my motion is to do an NCIC, FCIC, criminal record check.
So one question, Mr. Santana.
Because I see we are not doing that, so we should do it to all the employees of Central County.
That's what you have most of.
Exactly, no, I just want to say that to picture.
Yes.
So we can make,
So, Mr. That's just one quick thing. Could we go away from the NCIC and just go straight to FCIC?
No,
Which is a higher.
no, we
is a-
don't go. Because some of them is,
One
that's
is Florida, one is
Criminal
not.
Investigation Center, and the other one is Florida Criminal Investigation Center. Some people have federal, criminal,
It won't come out.
but some people
It's
have state.
Florida.
Any question? No, I'm good with that. Good. So your motion on the floor would be, correct me if I'm wrong, that before we hire an employee, that the background check will go through an NCIC as well as an FCIC.
And to all the employees that are working now,
Yes.
from Central County Water Control District,
Agreed.
have to go through the same criminal record check
You'd have to,
because they have not been checked the record when they started working here.
John, any liability
We
with
want
that?
to check everything.
I have
Hold on, hold on,
to,
hold on.
I have to check the law, so, as you probably know, when an employee, just like with random drug testing, and you can't do random drug testing unless you're in an occupation like truck drivers, heavy equipment operators. I want to make sure that, not for new employees, you can do anything you want. What I want to make sure is for the existing employees, whether we can make them go through another check.
That'll be something.
No, the thing is, they have never gone through a criminal background check.
So how would you,
Never.
how would you like me to
And we
proceed?
are a government institution. All government institutions,
Yeah,
No,
there'll be some kind of
they have to go
right in there.
to a criminal background
No, you
check.
That needs to be done.
Let's do one step at a time. It sounds like this is a very good idea. It sounds like everyone's on board.
So let's try to get this motion approved first, and then you figure out on this one. So your motion would be to approve criminal background on new employees through using NCIC and FCIC.
And to all the employees.
I think that one he has to be corrected.
If we are legally able to do so, absolutely, with existing
Well,
employees.
I make the motion. If we approve it, if it's legally, then we do it.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. If it's not legally, then we do it.
We can definitely do it for all new hires or with the kids, summer camp, the clubhouse, yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Now listen to me. The thing is, we have not
I got you,
been given
You convinced
criminal
me.
record. And let me tell you, and you know what? We had an issue here. One of our employee disrespected residents of Montour. And that person had a record. That person had a history. You know why it didn't come out? Because we didn't do a criminal record background check of that person.
Wow.
So we were liable. That happened
I don't know
again.
when that
Because the
person
mother
was-
of the shipment.
So hold on a second, so we don't get off track, though, I don't wanna go into a rabbit hole. So, do we have a motion on the floor, listen to me correctly, do we have a motion on the floor for all new employees to have criminal background, NCIC and FCIC, including new employees? And then you're gonna
And
check
for
on.
existing
and
employees.
you're
Now
gonna-
for
and
existing
you're-
employees.
Extend allowable by law.
I'm for the chief employee.
Gotcha.
If it's illegal, but
So we do have, can we get a motion on the floor?
I make a motion.
So Mr. Santana makes that motion. Do we have a second?
Aye.
We have a second by two supervisors. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. All right, and the last one, we're probably going to have to, as was talked about earlier, move on from this, but just to let the community know, we have done how many roads with using millings, Herminio?
76 roads, 19.5 miles.
19.5 miles. How many miles of dirt road do we have, Mr. Bennett? 100?
Yeah.
106.
Okay. So our thing, as far as the community as well as the board, is we have ran out of material as far as millings, correct?
Actually, we've run out of money to get more material.
100%. But we run out of material.
Yes.
So as community members call, what we have to utilize is our pile of what we purchased from Ridgedale, correct?
Yes,
In the
sir.
previous year. So the thing that I want to bring up to the board to think about, and Mr. Boyd, think about this as well, is to make the headway to continue, we're going to have to dip into our funds or stop completely until the next fiscal year. So I want the board to think about what we want to do, how to resolve this, if we can resolve this, and if we can make this happen. So just think about that going forward. This will be on the agenda for next month, as well as the community, to let you guys know as well. As far as milling, there's nothing we can do. We ran out of material, and we've hit the budget pretty hard. And it's something that we have to make a decision on. I'll bring it up again next month, so if you have any questions, please reach out to Mr. Herminio and the office that runs day-to-day operations to see what we can do, but this will be on the agenda for next month for a vote, to see if we can allocate some funding so we can continue on with the road we have. Actually, there's money involved, so I would say no. Agreed, Mr. Famero? All right, moving on. Let me get our manager's report.
Yes, sir. So on that report is the last roads that we were able to do with the meeting. As you guys know, we reached 72 quarter-mile roads for a total of 19.5 miles with the meeting. The only thing we can do now with the roads until you guys decide something about the meetings is we can either repair big potholes or just go with the grader and smooth it out as much as we can. But the rainy season's coming, so that's not gonna help too much. Sure. As we know. For the last couple of weeks, we were working on clear the path for the drilling. The reservoir on the peak that is right there. The drilling was concluded today, so we're going to be waiting for the lab results on everything, on the samples that they do. We also been working on, I'm sorry if I'm getting into the report. We also been working on the repairs for the pool room that we were talking about last weekend, on last meeting. I'm gonna leave the rest of it for this. We did a full maintenance on gate 139 and 142. We start off all pump stations and all the maintenance that we do every month or every 2 or 3 weeks on the pump stations to make sure they're all correct and running the way they're supposed to be. We are already on canal number 5 on cleaning the swells and checking on the pipes and all that. We do have 3 collapsed pipes that we're not going to be able to change yet because the Grace Electric tension cables are running on top of them, so we have to get in contact with Grace Electric to remove or change those tension cables so we can change them. We're going through the reservoir, which is almost finished. we have an update on the federal grant at $1.6 million. We're gonna be meeting with the engineer and the consultant on March 1st. Right? If I'm not mistaken. I think that's usually
The 28th.
the 28th. So we're gonna be meeting with them on the 28th. They wanna see exactly what we talk about for that grant of $1.6 million.
Is anyone, sorry to cut you off. Okay.
We'll hold all our comments for the end.
Okay. We sold 13 permits, 11 of them were new. We're still picking a lot of trash around Montura. The pool looks really nice. It's ready for spring break and every other weekend. We're still changing signs around the streets on Montura. It's not that much bad as it was 2 months ago, but we're still changing signs. As you guys noticed, we're already resurfacing the basketball courts, both of them. They also painted. We're putting together the backboards and the hoops to install it for either this week or next week. We are planning to resurf or painting with asphalt the parking lot and the runabout in front of the club house. We also fixed the volleyball court. We put new beach sign and everything. I hope it lasts a long time because each show was $700. But we got to bring it from all the way on the coast. The Valentine's dance was not really too successful. We're already making plans for summer camp in the sense of putting inventory for the craft and all that stuff.
You finished?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Board, would you like to ask a question?
Have we had a survey done of Montura to know how many signs we'll need spread out all of Montura?
How many signs?
Stop signs, speeding signs, like any kind of, do we have like a full log of how many signs Montura should have?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, I think we should get one of those, so we should, because we can get an estimate on all the signs from Montura. The other thing is, that I was gonna ask was, for the February 28th, 2023, if I'm not mistaken, any of the board members going to that meeting? Okay. And then the other thing is, if we redo the parking lot at the clubhouse, we need to incorporate some of the concrete parking barriers, because I have caught numerous times people doing donuts, driving real in and out of there. I don't want us to waste our money repaving it or painting it just for it to be damaged. With the parking barrier, like little bumps, they won't be allowed to do donuts, they won't be allowed to do any of that. So I think these are some of the things we need to look into. The reason why I asked you for, the reason why I was asking about the signs is because I was doing some research for grants, and that's one that we can get. So we just have to make an inventory. Whoever's picking up trash, they can say, hey, there's supposed to be a sign, give them a map, so we know how many stop signs, stuff like that. So if we do qualify for that grant, we can get all FDOT certified signs throughout Montura. And that's just really it.
Anybody, thank you. Anybody else have a question for district manager?
Yeah, your pumps, is all the pumps in operational order?
Yes, sir, they are.
And the overtime, are y'all backing it up with a paper file now, or
With a what?
back on paper? Remember whenever I asked about the overtime? Y'all saying that y'all was just writing in the hours, but y'all wasn't doing like documenting what was done and stuff like that?
They are documented on the time cards, yes.
Yeah, but as far as backing it up, as in like what was done for the day, y'all doing it on paper?
No, not yet, we haven't done that form yet.
Okay.
One thing I wanna,
Hold on, you finished, bro? Got anything?
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's good.
yeah, one thing.
You got the floor. Go ahead, sometimes you got the floor. I'm good. Well, if you guys don't go, I got something to say.
No, I go before you.
Go ahead.
Mr. Emilio,
Yes, sir.
last meeting you mentioned that we're gonna try to separate the soccer field from the baseball field.
Well,
You have been any
Well, no.
movement on that?
It was not exactly like that. What I mentioned about that is that the board needs to make a decision whether we put new lights or move the lights in order for us to separate the soccer field from the baseball field.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Have you made any move on that?
You guys.
We have to decide?
Yeah, it's a lot of money. We can start the process, but we need to get estimates and the baseball field and the soccer field is no problem. I can do that in-house. Now, moving the lights, that's a big deal.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
what do we do?
In reference to, sorry, I was writing down.
I thought we discussed it after we gave you approval to do the baseball field.
No.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
No.
you said that you'll have to move the lights, and we said, yeah, go ahead.
No.
That's what I thought.
I said I can do the baseball field, but we have to decide on the lights.
Oh, so we have to vote on that.
Yeah.
Put it on
Yeah.
the next one.
So what, and one by the other thing?
I wish I can move the lights in-house, but that's gotta be through,
Can we
Even
vote
though
on
we
that?
gave you, even though we gave you approval to get the baseball field done, it's within the parameters.
okay, so let me.
Please explain.
Okay, so going back to the last meeting, the baseball field and the soccer field is the same field. You cannot have, you can, but you're gonna lose your baseball field.
Okay.
You cannot have a soccer field inside the baseball field because it will be destroyed in one night. And so everything we do in a week is gonna be done in one night.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
The only reason why it's like that is because there is, or there used to be, a soccer field between the 4-H and the baseball field.
Okay.
But when they put the lights, they never put lights for the soccer players, which is not right. You know, they should have their, so all the light poles that we have are around the baseball field and by the basketball courts. But we don't have anything
For the side.
on the soccer
Can we
field.
put lights, adding those lights to this light that we have right now, facing the soccer field?
No.
They still have to be moved.
Yeah,
to the baseball field.
okay, so many years back, maybe Chris remember this. Some years back, when I was the manager at the clubhouse, I bring that to the board. And back then, it was $63,000 or something like that.
Mr. Emilio, I see, and you were in South Florida playing baseball, and you were a coach down there, right? I noticed sometimes they have those light poles on wheels. On wheels, they move the wheels.
No, those are rental. No, those are like a trailer with a generator on it with light
Exactly.
poles goes up.
Can we have one like that one?
Sure, but they're not gonna last a night. They're gonna be.
Not even a game?
No. Okay, so we're talking about for a long time. We're not talking about for a game. They don't do soccer games at the night time.
So, what we need the light for? What do we need the light for?
Okay.
Hold on a minute, I believe we have a solution. You have any
I
questions?
want to go back to the signage that we were discussing earlier. I know the last meeting, we were talking about school board, a school stop sign. Do we maintain those signs or the county does that?
Those are our signs. So, like I was asking him, the grant, basically, it's a safety thing. So they basically will give it to us one time. They'll give us all of the signage we need. Speed signs, stop signs, like if there's crosswalk, whatever it may be, they'll give it to us one time and then we just maintain it from there. Because the thing that I see is every time I look into the budget and every time I look into it, we're always spending money on signs. Yeah, I get it, sometimes the signs are being destroyed, but if we have all of our signs redone, it gives us a data to know what
Continue,
area is destroying the signs, so that we can give to the sheriff's office, give to community policing, and say, hover around this area, these are the people who are destroying our signs, and then we'll find them.
Okay, that's it.
Question for you, Emilio.
Uh,
We're
Can
gonna
I,
go back to that. Hold on.
I just want Mr. Santana not to go without understanding what I'm saying.
Sure.
Okay, so the baseball field is 404 foot long.
Right.
Okay? The soccer field is 315 by 185. So they cannot be together. Either one takes over the other one or the baseball takes over the soccer field.
Or the equestrian, how big is that equestrian?
So right between that fence, and
How
4H.
How big is that equestrian that we fenced in?
Okay, so the measurement that I just give the board is official measurement. They don't need that.
Sure,
Okay, they need a 250 by 125.
Sure.
That's all they need.
sure.
There is there used to be a soccer field between 4H and the dugout behind third base of the baseball field.
Sure.
Okay, the plastic black things are still there somewhere. I have to find them again to put the flags on
Sure.
four corners. The only reason why they cannot use it is because there's no light, and that's the time that they have for practice.
But you said that they don't play at nighttime.
Well, the soccer guys play at night, they play every
They play at night time, but not a game. They play every
They
night.
practice.
They
Yeah,
practice.
they practice every night.
So,
10, 15
So
minutes.
they need light.
so would it be, yes, they need some type of light. So would it be wise if we gave approval to move that fence for the equestrian further in because it's really not being used?
We can take it off if you
You
guys
see what
want.
I'm saying?
It's
It's a
not-
big unit, but in what Mr. Board Supervisor Santana said, that we need lighting. We don't have lighting there to support that whole 14-acre, 10-acre parcel, whatever it is. But if we move, we intrude into that 4-H because nobody in 4-H has actually used it. I don't see any equestrians in there. So
Right,
if we-
but even if we move or we remove the fence,
Sure.
we still don't have light.
I understand, but that could be a dedicated area for soccer.
Yes, sir.
And then we have a dedicated field for baseball.
That's what you stated, that's what you stated the last week.
Right, but we don't have light.
But we put the lights. We put the lights.
So
Put a bunch
if we
together.
as a board gave you, to move the fencing for the 4-H, figure out something with lighting, then we can have an isolated soccer field, and we can have an isolated baseball field.
Do it small.
Right.
Okay.
Now, the whole deal about the light is because it's a nighttime and it's a sport, well, everything is a liability. But if you guys want to move into putting lights, I recommend that we put lights just like they are at the baseball field.
I agree.
They're professional lights. If something happened, that corner over there, it could be used for a lot of different stuff.
Let me tell you,
Yes.
one thing I like is, I go by there, I'm patrolling with the sheriff office volunteer, nighttime, I see them playing basketball, I see them playing baseball, I see them, that's
They're
good.
not playing baseball, they're playing soccer.
Yeah, they play.
Yeah, soccer, but sometimes they play baseball. I have seen them, playing baseball sometimes, or there are a few of them, but they're playing baseball. And, I like that because they have their mind, focused on the sports, doing good things. You know what I'm saying? So I believe, even if we have to spend money on the lights for the soccer team, but that's for the benefits of the youth.
Well, it's up to you guys. If you guys want, you can, we can look for estimates to
100%.
light that up.
Can we
We
talk
don't
to
need a
Clay?
vote for
Can
that.
we talk to Clay Electric to see, you have the connections, so they electric, to see if they give us a good price to put the lights on there?
So bring us some quotes and some ideas that we can have two separate fields, one baseball, one soccer, and to be visible
Right.
to play. And then, Mr. Bennett, because you guys have parks in LaBelle, most of them are on timers and stuff like that. At a certain time, you know, the lights automatically go off and they come on at a certain time. Look into all that so we can
Right.
figure out what we have to do to make that happen on our end. I think it's a good thing. And
I think
something
it's-
we have to figure it out.
Really smart to have some numbers before you guys vote on anything that has to do with the light. Yeah, 'cause
Any,
Would it, that's a good question. Would it be better to leave the baseball field where it's at, move the soccer behind it, or move the baseball field to the southeast side of it, in that corner, then keep the, because how would you better be able to utilize your lights?
I
Moving the
think-
baseball field and moving a light, or
I
keeping it
think
where
we
it's at?
should let the baseball field where it's
Uh-huh.
at, which signs the lights are already
Mhm.
kinda situated where they're supposed to be. With a section of a couple spots maybe by the outfield,
Yeah.
and do the soccer field on the other side.
Okay.
so I have two questions, Mr. Bennett. I seen the email come from the county or the consultant for the county in reference to the 1.6 million, right? What you proposed to get worked on was not complete in the response from the consultant that the county is using.
I haven't seen that.
If you get a chance to look at what they proposed that they were going to work on, I know 1.6 million is probably not gonna cover everything, but they didn't put all the projects that we asked for. I just wanted for document purpose, hey, we talked 300 and something culverts need to replace, whatever, so on and so forth. But I need that documented, because I don't want them to say, let's just say for instance, they did what was said and there's a leftover, and the county
Yeah.
says, well, you,
They'll claim it as an administration.
so I want to make sure that
Yeah.
they have our scope of work and it's correct.
We've got more in our scope of work than they're gonna have money.
Yeah.
But they didn't even put the scope of work correct though.
Right.
What they propose is not the whole kit and caboodle.
Okay, gotcha.
And then the other thing that I want to make sure that we clarify, that's what I want to be in attendance, and yourself if possible, Zoom or call in, is
I'll be there.
that we prioritize to them what is important, not they prioritize to us what is important.
Yeah.
Agreed.
We just want to make sure that we can come back to the board and say, hey, this is our priority list, you can present it to us, and this is how we're going to tackle these projects with the estimates that come in the scope of work, is that, because I don't want them to dictate to us how to spend our money.
Right.
But we've been pretty fortunate. I know Mr. Emilio and your team has changed out a lot of culverts, and so this would be a great opportunity. We don't get this all the time, so I don't want to squander 1.6 if we don't have to. All right. Next question, part-time employee for the clubhouse to do refreshments, do little snacks on the summer, anything like that.
Only one person applying, and then after that,
They didn't pass the FCIC.
no, after that she found another work. But then nobody else.
Can you look into it? Can you continue to look into it?
We can put it on,
I know the summer
yeah,
programs.
on the newspaper, we can even put something on Facebook, you know.
Appreciate it.
We can- Right.
That's all I have for the manager report. Let's keep it moving. Thank you, Mr. Emilio. Engineers report?
Time of year again, it's
Sure. Yes, sir.
The county wants a plot plan, we don't have anything to mention. Story's been made, the county wants to see what the setbacks are.
Understood.
We can't give them numbers. We've got that for, but that number, all field,
Okay. Anybody?
They haven't sent it to me yet.
Okay, so we're getting some prices there.
Okay.
Probably another day.
Anybody have any questions for the, our engineer?
Yeah, staff gauges for the pump stations.
Because we've got staff meeting, I'm gonna get the video, it's gonna be going around tonight. Pump station, it's had pipe, we installed.
So there wouldn't be one at each pump station, or there only would be a certain locations?
We are for the pump station. Pipes. Some of them have crash
Anybody else?
Yes, but what about the creeks in the reservoir, how it process, yeah, the status of the pit inside the reservoir. The status, we've been investigating, what we can do
The
to
water samples and stuff. the
Oh,
process
yeah,
that
the
we're-
rock, yeah,
properly.
yeah, they drilled, they drilled 8 holes scattered around that, about a 60 or so acre area there, drilled 50 feet deep. They got the drilling done, it's finished. Just gotta take those samples back to the laboratory.
They haven't done it.
They're finished with the drilling, they haven't done the testing.
Oh, okay.
Percent.
Thanks.
We should have that probably by the next week.
Oh, okay.
The guy said it would take anything from 2 to 3 weeks.
Any other questions for the engineer? Got one for you, Mr. Bennett. I think we have power to most of our pump stations. Can you look into, getting them to run off either a transducer or flow, or be a little more automated than what we have right now? That's all we have for you. Thank you for your report. Mr. Board, we're ready for your treasurer's report.
I'd like to, we normally start page 1 there, but it's also in the back of your packets, the new thing that we're working on, budgetary and actual.
It's actually in the front pocket, behind the,
Thank everybody.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Before we go, this will be the second part, before we do that, just normal page 1 tab. One important thing on here, it's not total disbursements of $403,000 for the month. We're in the month of January, which is 4 months in the year. And the thing I want to point out is the second part, that we've got in 4 months, we've gotten half of all the money we're going to get from the taxes. It all comes in November and December. So when you look at some of our financial statements, the revenue side looks great. But that's because it's all coming in December and November. So I just want to,
Sure.
we'll come back to that, but, and then just the next page shows the current year month collections, and the fact that we're ahead from the prior year by $290,000. That can be somewhat of a timing difference. And now I'd like to go to the new thing, mark page 5 and 6. Page 5 is the revenue part. So it won't all fit on one page like it used
Understood.
to. And this is sort of swayed by what I just said. We've got 50% of our tax revenue we already have in 4 months.
Sure.
So I don't think we should focus as much on that page as the next page, which is our expenditures. So this is the layout you'll get each month now. And the way it works is the first 3 columns are just the 1 month, okay, the month of January.
Sure.
Compared to actual, the budget, and variance. Then the next 3 columns is probably the most important one. It shows the year-to-date, okay, which is what we usually look at. So 4 months into the year is, we discussed bringing this up at the next meeting about the millings and all that. But if you look at the 4 months, the actual there, about the 5th and 6th number down, you can see between what is put under maintenance of roads, rebuilding of roads, there's $609,000 been spent this 4-month period. So that's like $480,000 over what you would budget if it was just 4/12. Okay, we'll come back to that, but then the final 2 columns, that's our annual budget for the whole year. Then the variance is not really that key. That's as you're going through the year, how close are you getting to your full budget. But if you look down to the second to the bottom there, it shows the total expenditures. And we're basically $434,000 over what 4/12 of our budget would be. And it's back, to what we're going to talk about next month, I guess, is the cost of the roads is, I guess you're saying we're pretty much out of the millions already. We're looking at a lot of money there. So when we come back at the next meeting, that was, you were going to talk about
Sure.
that. But you can see if we're already running out, then there's going to be a lot of expense we're talking about. We're spending a lot of money on a lot of different things, and it's not looking that good right now. We still got a lot of rebuilding and stuff, more millings we gotta buy and all that. Anyway, y'all can take this home and look at it.
So everything that has a parentheses is where,
Yeah, it's not so much in the final 2 columns, but because that's a whole year's budget there. But definitely like the 1 month and the 4 months, if it's a parentheses, it's unfavorable. Like you see the 241,000 and the 237,000. That's how far over we are compared to 4/12 of our budget. We only budgeted $390,000 for the whole year in those 2 categories.
No, can I?
hold on,
Yeah.
so let her.
Okay, that's just,
If nothing changes, we'd be $1 million over budget at the end of the year.
well, I mean, depends on how much we gotta spend on the, going forward.
If they kept the same spending rate,
If it was the same spending rate, yeah.
1.2 million.
I had to do the math, but you could tell, we budgeted $390,000 for the whole year for road rebuilding and maintenance. We budgeted just a small loss, like in the second to the last column, of $73,000, but you could tell that's not, realistic when we've already, spent so much.
Well,
So this, so anyway, just,
so where are we at what's our percentage for the first quarter? Where are we at? We should,
well, we're $434,000 over budget. I didn't actually do the percentage, but you can see the total expenditures, that's the realistic part. The excess of revenue over expenditure doesn't look bad, but that's because we got so much revenue. So the important thing is the expenditure side, because the revenue is all, So in other words, the percentage thing is not, we're $101,000 is loss as far as our revenues over expenditures. But that's with half of our revenue already in here.
sure.
So it's, the expenditure side is what's worrisome.
Understood. Anybody have any questions? Finish, Mr. Boyd?
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for the treasurer?
No, not for the treasurer, but something I seen on the, our budget.
All right, anybody else, anybody have a question for Mr. Boyd?
I have one question.
Go ahead.
Do you see anywhere that we could kind of trim off some of the excess spending somewhere within all this?
Well,
He's not.
I'm not, that's really gotta come from what we gotta spend. I'm just reporting what we have spent. I mean, obviously, it's worrisome if we still got a lot of road work to do.
Well,
So I'm not, I think everybody needs to look at this, especially Nino, and then to answer that question.
Anything else with that?
That's it.
Anybody
After
else?
y'all had a chance to look at this, between the next meeting, then we can talk more. It'll be another month or two.
Gotcha. Anybody on the board have a question?
yes.
Go ahead.
For page 16, other contracted services, the Zumba lady, I thought the board agreed to only allow her to do it once a month.
No. The board agreed to do it twice a week, and if a lot of more people start going and whatever, it was up to me to let it go a third time. That's what the board agreed on. The board can vote again into take it out, or just once a month, or however you guys wanna do it.
That's $180 is minute. So I think the biggest challenge that we have here as a community, the big ticket item, I think Supervisor Self is talking about, is the roads. In my opinion, when I first got on the board, I mean, we were a laughing stock that we don't do anything with the roads, Mr. Bennett, right? Right. The previous boards, I could be wrong, but a lot of the previous boards didn't tackle the road issues that we've had in our community. Now we're tackling them, and it's not cheap. There's nothing cheap about running a water control district. So again, we have tackled many roads, and we continue to tackle them, so that's what the landowners put us up here to do. Mr. Boyd, we do have money in reserves, correct?
Yes.
Okay, So in my opinion, there is a time to there's a time to save, there's a time to spend. So we have a lot of things to tackle. So as a board, everybody needs to look, see what we can do. If we want to stop, that's also a choice. Then we're going to hear from our constituents. Hey, what about the rest of Montura? My opinion, living out here, 16 family living out here, 40 plus, is a lot of the previous boards, in my opinion. I don't know why, but they haven't tackled what we've tackled. And it's been amazing because we have a lot of equipment now that they didn't have before. We're tackling roads like we've never tackled before. We have more employees that we never had before. So we definitely have to put our heads together, see what we can do. If we pump the brakes, we pump the brakes.
So how much money do we have in the reserve?
Flaco, how much is a load of minimums? More or less what you're buying for?
Anything between $300 and $330, depending on where we can get it from. Last time we got it from, community.
$1,700,000,
$1,700,000,
something like that.
$1,700,000.
And
The meeting is
Roughly,
enough,
yeah.
hold on, so we don't have two
One shot.
conversations. Hold on, so we don't have two
deal,
conversations.
you know.
He said $1,700,000.
So let me ask you, do we have enough? We get audited every year, correct?
I'm sorry?
We get
Yes,
audited every
yes.
year. What do our auditors say?
Well, they're still working on the audit.
What have they said in times past though? I mean, what is it?
Well, they're concerned that through depreciation and through all this expenditures, that our revenues aren't high enough.
Or what?
Our revenues, our taxes and whatever.
So what he's trying to say, correct me if I'm wrong, is we don't pay enough taxes?
Well, you got, to cover the expenses, you got to either it's taxes,
Understood.
it's borrowing, or it's grants, some of these grants will come along and help.
So, Mr. Booth, how much money do you think that we need to increase in taxes to even out?
We're already hitting them over the head and people, they've already jumped tremendously.
No, but listen, we have, it was about 20 years that we did not raise taxes. So I want to be frank, and I talk to all the residents, and believe me, I want the best for the residents of Honduras, including myself. We ask roads,
And we've delivered.
and meaning on the employees of Santa Fe County. Board Control have done a great job. The majority of the people are happy with the roads that we have fixed or built, okay? So that costs money. So in order to continue doing the work that we have been doing up to now, we need money. And if we have to continue, and we've been increasing the taxes little by little.
Yes.
We have not been abusing on the taxes, but we have to try to even out. That's what I'm saying. If you can check it out and say,
Next meeting, I'll bring some more
please,
information.
how much
on the table.
money do we need to try to even out the budget?
If we raise taxes, what's gonna happen with Henry County taking some of that money?
No,
No.
So what
that's
happens?
our taxes.
See, so what happens, so for instance, I just looked at my bill, as well as probably looked at the others, is, I think it's 330 now for an acre comes to Central County Water Control District, give or take?
406.
468 is out of my tax bill.
No, some of that money is for the Eastern County
I'm
Recreation.
talking about it comes here to us.
468, and then some other line item that
So how many acres do you have?
they can report.
Acre and quarter. Okay, so I'd have to, everybody has to look at it, you have to look at it. I thought it said on our website, it says 330.
325.
Three something an acre, correct? So if you have an acre and a quarter, it's 325, and you divide that by 4, and you add another thing.
Okay,
That comes here. But also on our tax bill, there's water control, there's mosquito, school, hospital, there's that, and the other, East County Rec, all those kind of things. So it's not, a lot of us in the community believe that all that money comes here to us. That's not the case. It's distributed, if you look at it, it's distributed here, there, the other. So to have that balance, and we have tackled a lot, it's going to be challenging because if we stop with the roads, and that might have to be the case, there's going to be, we have 100 miles, just say 100 miles of road,
we've tackled 19 miles of 100 miles of road. There's still quite a bit, so we might have to take it in a phased approach.
Well, I want to clarify something too. Not only we tackle, okay, 19.5 miles have nothing to do with almost 80 patches that cost $850 per square feet. So we're talking about 19.5 miles of dirt road without counting almost 80 patches that we did all around Montura so we can keep our paved roads.
And if I can say something, a lot
So
of
that's-
a lot of the bigger potholes that a lot of the constituents were complaining about have been patched up
Every single
for
one.
the most part. Now the dirt roads, if they're driving to go home, they shouldn't be speeding. Now don't get me wrong, we do have some bad apples that like to speed. Of course they're gonna hit a dirt pothole. That is gonna happen. But many of the constituents, and I can say this faithfully, they understand that we are working at it, and I can say this to the board. They know that the roads are getting addressed. They know that the roads are getting fixed, and a lot of them are really thankful for a lot of the big patches that we have done with the budget that we did do. Now, my opinion is, do I want to, keep spearheading and keep doing what we have to do for the roads? Yes, but as our, finance advisor says, we can. We can probably pick it up, in a later time or when the budget restarts again. Because once it comes to rainy season again, we really don't touch the roads that much. I think we should pick up.
They get worse.
In the millings, yes.
I think we should start picking up on the swells before rainy season, so that a lot of this water has somewhere to drain. I think that's what we should do every year, is do it in segments. When it's dry, we work on our roads, and right before wet season, we pick up our swells to abstain our roads, so that we don't have to keep doing what we.
We can't really work on as well as on the trains.
That's tough. That's how they can be delicate stuff. It's challenging.
We've been cleaning all the swells. We start on perimeter all the way. We're almost getting to Osaka, so we only need another road and we'll be on perimeter.
So,
But that's not like, cleaning the entire swell. If it's a live leveling or whatever, we do tackle it, but it's mostly at the end where everything is clogged up and the pipes are collapsed.
so Mr. Boyd, if we pump the brakes, just kind of give us an idea of where we're gonna be at the end of this fiscal year coming up. So we can.
Bring some general information.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like as guys orders. How many loads of millings does each road take? More, 6, less?
Each road takes anything between 12 to 14 loads. Compare,
All the way down.
yes, 13 feet.
So 200 loads to get you. But I just figuring out, it's like, if we cut down some of like, for example, reservoir security, $42,000. We cut that out. If we cut down overtime, that was 18,000, almost 18,000. If we combine them two together, that's already about 60,000 for that we could utilize towards the roads. And me personally, that 47,000 would be better.
But you saying if we cut down the overtime,
Yes.
that means you're already assuming that that overtime was not necessary?
But the thing is, you gotta remember, it's an expenditure more on top of what you're getting, because the employees are not making regular pay, they're getting their overtime now. So you gotta kind of like give and take.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's nothing against the overtime, but the thing is that we gotta kind of cut some of that stuff back down, because that's costly.
So let me explain something to you.
It'll be a slower
About
process.
the overtime. Oh, I know that. I've been through it for 5 years with this work.
Mm-hmm.
So let me tell you how I've been cutting the overtime that you're talking about. By me doing pumping from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. and staying to work at the next day.
Okay.
So my employees can come back a full night's sleep and drive our heavy equipment.
Okay.
That's how I've been cutting the overtime.
Okay.
So you're talking about, so for instance, I think a lot of overtime came through, we had 2 hurricanes last year.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure that took a toll on our budget. To be honest with you, in my opinion as well, as he says, overtime, another thing,
if we do a cost benefit analysis and we look what our staff actually gets paid, it probably fall way under what other people get paid.
Big time.
So again, if you compare what our team makes to other people that specialize in what they do, we're not even close to paying.
I wanna mention something.
I could be wrong with that.
I
We
wanna-
can definitely do a cost.
I wanna mention something with mother.
Sure.
In reference to the overtime and all that, work that I'm terminating ourselves, that the two last hurricane, if the terminal don't give the employees of Central County that overtime, the residents of Montura will be in danger. Because, they were working the pumps around the clock. You know, in order to have the canals at the lower level, that they have to be done, that they have to be, in order they don't overflow during the hurricane. So that's a need, that's a must. The employees have to do the overtime, for the safety of the residents of Montura. That's a must.
I completely agree with you.
And I've been out there,
Right,
and
but,
I've been looking,
right, but take something,
the meeting out
let's,
there with employees.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
And
Let's
that's a
take this,
necessity, that's a necessity.
let's take this into consideration. For the month of January, it's $18,000 of overtime.
Mr. Mini out there.
No, I know, and it's, like I said, I know they all doing work and stuff, but the thing is, somewhere down the line, you know, cause it's 17,000.
Where are you seeing $17,000 in overtime for 1 month?
It says, oh, I'm sorry, 4 months. For overtime wages, 17,000. You know, the thing is that it's sometimes more, sometimes it's a little bit less. You know, then that's why I brought up the thing like whenever Becca, she says if somebody calls her after hours, she's getting paid for that, which I completely agree with that. But that's why, telling the board, you know, they need to know that once you call the secretary, or anybody that's hourly, after hours, they're gonna get paid.
Well,
So it's gotta bring it down. So the thing is that there has to be a solution somewhere, you know, and I don't wanna be the Grinch whenever it comes to overtime or nothing like that, but the thing is that, you know, somewhere down the line, we're gonna have to cut something down, and we have to come up with solutions.
I really believe that the overtime that we're doing now is nothing compared with the overtime that was done some years back. I do remember one meeting, because you know I was coming to every meeting, right, when I was in the clubhouse. And I do remember one meeting that Cookie was bashed big time by the board because one employee in Central County has $18,000 in overtime by himself.
What was it used for?
I don't know.
Was it for hurricane
I
or?
don't know.
So, you see, like, a hurricane, it's a no-brainer. So, Ms. Santana, that's a no-brainer, we know about that. But we're just talking about somewhere where we can limit this stuff down, because what we limit today, you know, it kind of adds up tomorrow. Because somewhere we're gonna have to trim something down. And if we don't come up with something, you know, we're gonna go down the drain pretty quick. So something has to be done.
Well, we can cut there's a lot of ways to cut overtime. One of them is we can cut events for the residents. We do 4 events instead of 15.
No.
We can cut, for example,
Reservoir security.
I'm sorry?
Reservoir security.
Reservoir security.
Yeah, and then
Reservoir security has nothing to do with overtime.
No, but it's trimming something out.
Well, that's a board
No, no.
decision. The overtime is my decision. I'm talking about my decision. So the other thing we can do is when there's a hurricane, we can cut off the pump at 8, we're going home, and then we come back in the morning.
I mean, come on, nobody's saying that.
Come on, please. You already said, how do we have $18,000? So you're already assuming that the $18,000 is not necessary.
Wait, Mr. Manager. Nobody's assuming anything. I already said during the hurricane,
Right,
you gotta run pumps. That's a no-brainer. So
exactly,
let's not get too far off the point.
right.
What I'm talking about is everything besides emergency, besides stuff that the community really needs. So we do need roads, but if we could back off the throttle a little bit and save a couple thousand here and there, it does add up at some point. So please don't assume, you know, what you're assuming.
Okay, so I'm always open for any ideas. How about you gave me the ideas on how to cut off overtime?
No, for sure. That's the thing. We've got to figure out how your day-to-day operation goes. I come in and I speak to you all the time.
No, I figured out how the day-by-day operation goes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you for a favor,
Yeah.
to tell me how to cut off the overtime that we have, that is not necessary, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Or we can limit it down. We're not saying completely cut it off.
No, wait a minute,
So-
wait a minute, now you say limited.
Good thing, Luis.
Hold on.
Sorry, bud.
Thank you, hold on. So, we're not gonna beat this dead horse, so what you can definitely do for us, why don't you give us some good data for the last 10 years, to see where we're at now, the employees we had then, the salaries we had then, everything we had then compared to now. Just to give us some good backgrounds, because again, I believe we have the most, this is my opinion, we have the most people than we've ever had before. And I think that's a great thing. So we're actually attracting people. My biggest fear is, I don't think we, personally, my personal opinion, I don't think we compensate our team that dedicates to keeping us safe. I don't think they're where they need to be. That's my personal opinion. But with that being said, that means they have to make more money. That means the 401k goes up, the benefits go up. So there's a lot of things. And I'm thankful for the team. I think they've done great things. They just don't, like Mr. Sells, I don't know if we're too fat. It's possible. But I know that the community's asked a lot more of us than they've ever done. And I think we're doing it, but it comes at a price. So we have to make sure we have checks and
Can I
balances.
mention something, Mr. Martin?
Sure.
By what I'm seeing here, Mr. Soft is saying, Mr. Levine is saying, the solution that comes to my mind is to cut down the overtime, is let's hire 5 more employees. So we can,
That's insurance, and if there's other stuff that comes
so
with it.
it's a catch-22, Chris, it's a catch-22. It's a catch-22. I mean, what I'm saying is, I see Mr. Emilio's side in what he's saying. He has a job to do. In order for him to do the job, he has to give the employees the go-ahead to finish the job, right?
And to be fair to
And then, because if you start a job, like cutting the trees or cleaning the swells, and if they don't finish, then all the residents are gonna be calling at the office, calling Mr. Marta, calling me, saying, hey, they started a job and they didn't finish.
So to be fair to the district manager, we've asked a lot of you and your team, right? We feel that you count and he can't do it without the tools. Can't do it without the equipment, can't do it without the tools. Now that's our responsibility as a board, as well as our community members. We need to let them know, okay, we're at these crossroads. If we stop, pump the brakes, that's fine, but certain services are gonna have to stop. So those are where we're at. I would challenge everybody on the board and everybody in the community is, let's find ways to make money. Let's find a way, get creative to figure out certain things. Mr. Santiago's come up with a hopefully, it's a good thing. So that's creative thinking that can bring revenue in. So the more things like that, the more we can continue to apply services to the community. But I agree with you, there needs to be checks and balances, 100%. And that's what we're here on the board for. With that being said, we're going to keep it moving. Mr. Famero, attorney report. Thank you, Mr. Boyd.
So, as a follow-up to our discussion at the last meeting about the reservoir speeding up the permitting process, I've spoken to 3 different consultants, one including the Steve Dover from Okeechobee.
Okay.
And they've all committed to submit a proposal. And literally, I expected to have them before this meeting, but I'll have 3 proposals for you. Scope of work.
Sure.
And so that should be forthcoming. We'll definitely have it before the next meeting. And then speaking of the events that Mr. Mr. Santiago has been talking about, festivals, things like that. I have done some research and drafted an indemnification hold harmless agreement. We've also done some research on the liquor licenses and, you know, just how we can protect districts. I'm working on a draft agreement for that if one of these vendors moves up. So those are the primary focuses. You know, again, we're talking about money. Keep in mind the reservoir, the permitting, and then the fixes that will be permitted are going to be $150,000 to $200,000 easy.
Okay.
So it's just something, you know, from a budget planning standpoint, we need to put a little footnote. And that's not been budgeted, so that would be an unbudgeted expense, would be my guess.
So,
Yes.
finished? Anybody on the board have questions for the attorney?
Yeah, I do.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Brown, did you get one of these? I handed them out. I don't know if you have it. It's Attorney General opinion. Maybe you didn't.
Maybe.
Yeah. So,
Melbourne Tillman, Water Control?
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so as I was looking through this, I seen that the Attorney General gave an opinion on use of lands and trails and stuff. And I know one of the things that, because I spoke to a consultant, and one of the things that they told me first to figure out before anything is for you, our legal attorney, to give us clarity on what we can and can't do, what's under passive, what's not, if the reservoir can or cannot be used for that, being that it is a reservoir. It serves water quality purposes, along with a lot of other stuff. So I don't know is this something that we could go off of? But my thing is, we've always been told we could do with the reservoir whatever we want. We, at the end, we have the final say. Come to find out, we don't. And our powers come from legislation, correct? The board, or South Florida Water Management does not give us any powers. Their thing is just to enforce their bylaws on us to make sure that we're in compliance, right? Okay, so my thing is that I think that since we've utilized the Attorney General on other things as far as like the golf carts and so on, I think that before we even go to spending a ton of money to get clarification through the Attorney General whether we can or cannot utilize the reservoir in the way that we want to. And I already know that there's one here that they already gave an opinion on. And I just think that it'd be sad if we move forward and come to find out 10 years down the road, we can't.
Yeah, I'm actually familiar with this opinion. It's not really helpful to us because that the Melbourne Tillman District, so when you're created, there's two laws that relate to us. One is Chapter 298, that's for all water control districts. And then Central County was created by a special law, so there could be some unique things. In this opinion, their special law actually told them to acquire land for conservation.
Yes.
So that's not in our special law.
Right, we have a reservoir.
Yeah, we have a reservoir, so, and some of the other board members, we've talked about this a lot. There's the big three: roads,
Drainage or
flood control, recreation. That's in Chapter 298. The reservoir is a form of recreation, so we can't pave it, but we can use it for recreational values to the extent it's not inconsistent with the district regulations. So the district, and keep in mind too, the district permit that was issued for that road would never be issued today. It was issued in the days when permits were written literally by hand. It was a form and you sketched it. There were no plans, no maps, no environmental assessments. So today you would never allow a wetland in the middle of the reservoir. Those two things are inherently conflict. Because if you operate a reservoir as a reservoir, you could kill the wetlands by flooding them out. You can kill a wetland by too much water the same way you can do by running a tractor. And so that would never be done today. That road is so old, it was before anyone really cared about wetlands. And so the district has to, they are the ones that stuck their neck out, so they have to manage the two purposes. It's a reservoir,
Yes.
but it's also wetlands, so, and one can trump the other.
Would you think that it would be wise of us to get an attorney general opinion just to where once we seal that deal, then we full-fledged, if we want to go forward, there's no stopping us.
I mean, I'm happy to get any attorney general opinion you want, but what's the question you're asking? Can we allow people to go out and use the reservoir?
To utilize it within what we're doing, charging keys or whatever it's going to be.
And I'll ask you, you ask opinion, so, the attorney
Yeah.
general is to ask an opinion when you're not sure. But again, I'll do whatever you want, but these are not gray areas. You can charge. Attorney general's not gonna say, you can't charge a fee for people to use it. They're not gonna say, you can't.
Right.
They're also gonna say you own the land, and they're gonna say to the extent not inconsistent with state or federal laws, you can use it how you see fit.
Yeah, it just so then, it just to put a nail on this coffin, because I know, like I said, before me becoming a board member, I asked many times, I even asked some of the board members up here, including yourself, can the reservoir, be used the way that it is? And everybody said yes. And look at where we're at now. And I'm the type of person that I would rather have a for sure answer on what we're doing till we don't go through this. Because if we spend $200,000, $300,000 and then come to find out 10 years later we can't, we just threw away a bunch of money. An attorney general opinion, I think it'd be a pretty good route to take.
It's all about how you ask the question. That's why I asked you this, since the devil's in the detail. If I ask the question, can Central County charge a fee to use a reservoir?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask that question.
You can ask
The
multiple
answer's gonna be
questions.
yes. Can Central County allow people and ATVs to use the reservoir? So the Attorney General, they issue opinions on the law. So they're not gonna come out here and look at wetlands. So they're gonna say, if it doesn't violate the state and federal law, sure.
Right, because in this one, like I know that you said that this kind of doesn't deal with the situation. It's just like they talk about passive recreation. What is passive recreation? Is that what we're wanting
So
to do?
passive recreation, the classic example is a park, a bench, a trail. So passive, we're not doing anything other than letting people use it. That's what passive recreation. So active recreation is we have facilities that in the reservoir. We can't do that.
Right.
But passive, which is in this case, we would be creating trails in the upland areas, educational kiosks, fencing. I can ask the question.
Would that be
Guaranteed yes.
motorized use? Passive?
ATVs.
That be still considered passive recreation?
No, ATV isn't passive. But these people had a different, they were buying their law.
Because I know EPA put the definition of what passive is and so forth.
So, so in their law, they have a mandate to purchase and establish conservation areas and passive recreation areas to protect the natural resources. That's not in our law. They have a different mission statement. And I think these guys are deep into the special district. Also, which is a very different animal. But,
Yeah, no, it's just, I was wondering if the board, if it's something that we could go towards getting an attorney general opinion, just to, I think it's well worth it, and I think that we should exhaust our resources, just so then if we decide to spend that much money, I mean, there's not gonna be no surprises down the road. It's our due diligence, we have to do
Thank
something.
you, you said that's under recreation, right? We are roads, canals, and recreation.
That is under our board.
Right.
We make this, we don't have to go to,
Well,
Attorney General, we don't have to go to the government, we don't have to go to the legislature. That's why we were elected by the residents of Montour. So we make the decisions on roads, canals, and recreation. And that's part of recreation. Let me tell you, I've been coming to Honduras since 1979.
You gonna hear that one again?
Again. And we've been riding in there all the time we were with this. And South Florida, Water Control, they never care.
they did.
No, they, Chris, they never came over here
They did 5 times.
and closed down
That's not that.
because somebody complained. Somebody from Honduras Ranch State
Mhm.
complained. Okay? Made a complaint to them. That's why they closed it down. If that person would not make a complaint to South Florida Water Control District, everybody would have been riding the bikes in there like they have been doing it for many decades.
Mhm.
So that's the reality. You wanna know the reality? That's the reality, Chris.
So, no, okay, so, the thing about it is that it's, even though it's been done, apparently it's something that shouldn't have been done, because that's why we are where we are now.
You said it's under recreation.
So, well,
If it's under recreation, it's illegal.
Mr. Santana,
There's two different,
yeah.
yes, sir.
But this is the whole thing. We're here for a reason, because even though the district came in multiple times and shut us down, stopped us. I worked here whenever they did it. That's when they did the restoration to the levee. Okay? What saved us was that we shut it down for 2 years during restoration, and that's what saved us that time. There's been multiple times. Okay?
So they closed it down,
Yeah,
and who opened it up?
they took Central County did.
Why'd they close it down?
They can't close it.
Well,
Never heard that.
South
I
Florida
never
Water
heard
Ranch
that.
can't close it.
they came in and Brawley took,
Never heard that.
they have emails and stuff. If y'all can go
Can you check
through.
the record, Becky?
If
Can you
you
check the record?
They really.
To see if they were closed it down before?
They can tell you, we're gonna levy
I
fines
never heard that.
because
All right.
you're not doing something, but they can't tell you. South Florida Water Management will never put themselves in a situation where they say, hey, you have to do it. They'll say, okay, Central County, we're gonna fine you such and such for this, that, and the other, but they won't say you shut it down.
Well, it's kind of like
They'll never
this.
say that.
Okay, you're correct. So we go back to the same thing that's happening now.
Got it.
Whenever they did a flyover, we're talking about back maybe 2014 or 15. Mr. Ben, do you remember when we did the restoration and everything on the levee? What year was that? Yeah, it went from pump station 1 and 2 all the way back down to 11 and 12.
Yeah.
What year did that start? 2015 or?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so they did do a flyover. So it kind of worked out first because what happened was while they were doing the restoration to the levee, people was going into the reservoir and they was busting the windows out of the excavators, they was stealing diesel out of it, they was stealing batteries and stuff. So then at that same time, it just happened to be that the district did a flyover and said, hey, there's major impacts in the wetland, and they sent in a map, they sent an email, all kind of stuff. So what the board decided to do was shut it down and then close the thing. So it was to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It's to stop the breaking into the contractor's equipment and to just let the natural just revegetation and everything come back in. So it's about 2 years. And it did, everything grew back over. Then they opened it back up. And then that's where Central County, we built a big canal inside to keep people off the levee because people started tearing up the levee. So, like I said, this is not nothing new. This is something that's been going on for a time. And the thing is that the board was advised of this before, prior to anybody going to the district. Nobody did nothing. And the thing is that what really saved us is that the influx of people coming in. Imagine 5 more years and the amount of keys that would have been sold, how much more damage would have been out there. So whatever the fines would have been, it would have probably been 3 or 4 times worse than what they're going to be now. So you got to look at it overall, what's for the better good. Do you want the community to end up spending $1 million on fines? Because then you have to jack up taxes. Or do we have to do what had to be done? Reservoir had to be shut down until everything gets resolved. I mean, there's no easy way about it, but something had to be done. There's a reason why we're here. And it ain't because of who called. It's because the board allowed it to continue happening and they didn't take action. That's it.
We wanted to open the reservoir, and we want to do it in a way that we protect the weather.
That's the thing, we have to go the right way. That's why I'm suggesting, if we can go to the Attorney General.
That sounds good. So we can do it, and we're gonna do it like that. We don't want to do it the right way. We don't have to go to the Attorney General We don't have to go to the governor, we make the decision right here. This board will make the decision.
Okay. I got a question for Mr. Suarez in regard, we spend a lot of time talking about the ATVs and reservoir, that's fine and dandy, but I was showing to him my tax bill for last year, okay? And we couldn't figure out, he couldn't figure out how much money is coming to us.
This is very interesting. So if you look at his tax bill,
I'm not sure it to anybody here.
all the ad valorem taxes, you know, school board, the county, they're there, but we're not ad valorem, we're non-ad valorem. So when you go to non-ad valorem, it's like $890 for one parcel. But it doesn't tell you who's non-ad valorem. You guys tell me, I don't own property here, but there's no line item. Like where I live, it says Lake Worth Drainage District, but that's ad
That's my
valorem.
taxes.
And you see to the penny what you pay those. How can you tell what you're paying Central County?
There's been a lot of people that call the office with mistakes on their bill, and they has gone to the Henry County appraisal, and they have fixed it. Especially one person that paid like almost $7,000, and they make a mistake and they brought it down to like $4,000. My bill specifies exactly $45 to Eastern County Recreation, which now is a special district recreation. You know, whatever to fire department, whatever to mosquitoes, and $300 something for
Do
the.
you have a line on your bill for Central County Water Control?
Yes, it's divided. It says Henry County, whatever they charge, and then Central County, whatever they
It's like a
charge.
325.
To answer that question,
It's not on
it
his.
wasn't like that for a while, and a lot of constituents were saying that they were paying Central County all of this money. So what I told them was to take their tax report back to the tax collector and tell them to fix your report. So a lot of people are going up there, and the county's not liking the pushback because a lot of Montour residents are taking alert to it. And this is my favorite phrase: we are the cash cow of Hendry County.
So they're stealing money from us, bottom line.
This is how they do it, and it happens in corporate America, it happens everywhere.
Okay. I'll go back.
It was a simple mistake.
I want to go back.
There's a section here that says non-ad valorem assessments,
Okay.
Central County, 406.
All right, Joe, so we get back, I'll do y'all's taxes later, I'll do y'all's taxes later, we'll get back to our meeting.
It's 406.
Anybody, any more questions for the attorney?
It's 406, right?
Yeah,
That's for everybody then, 406?
Not everybody.
no,
It's
that's
different.
just Central County. See, it's Central County.
Montour Ranch, we all pay 406 per parcel.
Give or take for, I think they break it down per acre. They actually break it down per acre, so an acre and a quarter is gonna be 406 plus a quarter of 406. Something like that.
So let me ask you something.
Anything else, Mr. Romero?
How much time do you think it's gonna take for us to open up the reservoir?
10 years.
Depends how fast we get the money.
Yeah,
There you go.
8 to 12 months.
Yeah, because I have residents asking me that question, so I tell them, 8 to 10 months.
Easy.
Good luck.
Sounds good.
I still highly recommend Attorney General opinion.
Anything else for Mr. Romero? Good, let's move on. Let's go into our supervisor's report. Mr. Self, you want to start off on your side?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Mr. Santiago?
I spoke with the executive board for the sponsor for the Winter Festival. There was some missing information from our first meeting and to our second meeting. They did bring their attorney into the meeting, their attorneys, let me correct it. They're actually going to draft us a proposal form, basically, of what would be our end goal and cost, because there is some fees that weren't talked about the first meeting that we will have to pay, and then what is our beneficiary income that we'll be receiving. The beneficiary income is pretty high. On one end, they did say these are all estimated numbers, but they said that this will be our first event of them being here, so that they will keep their word and they will pay whatever is promised on the initial agreement. And then moving forward, we will go into whatever is revenue because it goes by percentage. So if they don't make a certain bracket or a certain percentage amount from all of the income of the event, then there's certain things that are broken down differently. I don't have that here today because they didn't give it to me. When they do give it to me, I did advise for a representative for them to come and explain it. So they said that they're going to arrange that to have that explained to us because of how great detail I think it should come from them. The other thing that I also brought up was the breast cancer walk. I think we're going to do it the first week of October. So if anyone knows anybody, I did get with the it's AVON, I think Albion, or they're a big supporter, American Society for Breast Cancer. I actually filled out their form. So I spoke with the representative. They're actually going to help bring people here to do the walk. Something that they did recommend, because I did show them an aerial photo of the little loop around the clubhouse. They suggested that we do around the perimeter of the clubhouse, around the fence line, because that would be more of a distance compared to just doing a couple laps. So their team is going to help me prepare a portfolio to bring it to the board, but I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention. If you guys know anybody, you guys want to, participate, help us grow that event. And then
Is that cancer or breast cancer?
breast cancer. And then the other thing that I also wanted to mention too was, recently there's been a spike, and I don't know if everyone has seen it driving around Montura. There's been a spike in a lot of our younger youth, I will say around junior year to middle school. There's nothing for them to do after school. So I was suggesting, I spoke with a couple other organizations as well as mine, and I want to see if this board is willing to partner with some of these other organizations in getting grants that will pay for counselors every single day, Monday through Friday, minus the weekend, to stay at the clubhouse for 3 hours until mom and dad can get home. And it gives the kids some kind of activities to do, because within that grant, it brings like special shows and things that the kids can do. It also provides the clubhouse with computers, TVs, gaming consoles, so that the kids can be occupied for those 3 hours while mom and dad are at work. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's opinion, if you guys are interested in it, so I can get all that information and bring it back in. That was one of the biggest highlights of this week. So yeah, that's really it.
Good, thank you. All right, Mr. Santana, you have it?
Yes, sir. I only have one thing to, I wanted to report.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I went by the property of Mrs. Gladys Dominguez. Remember, she came over here. She lives in 445 South Utopia. 545. 545? Thank you. And I went by there with my wife and we checked the ditch, okay, all the ditch all the way to the canal. And like she stated, the neighbor heard going in that direction, that's going to
the canal.
the canal. The
Cover.
culvert is
Still over there.
no longer there. So when you went there,
Yeah.
and so it's clogged. The water doesn't flow to the ditch in that area.
That's the same cover that I helped her unclog when that happened to her.
She's explaining to me, yes, sir. Also, at the entrance of the canal is clogged right out there. So the ditch needs to be open in order for the water to flow to the canal.
It's not clogged, it's collapsed.
Collapsed, well, it's clogged because it's collapsed. So it needs to be open in order for the water to flow to the canal. I just want to mention that,
Yeah.
okay?
I'm very I appreciate that. I'm familiar with that road.
She told me you went by there, and help her out, but you know how it is here. After the rain, the sand
Yes.
collapses.
But it's unfortunately, it's out of our hands. I did it that time for her, so she can, get some water out of her property. But we're not responsible for the culverts.
What culverts? I'm sorry, because I just drove through there the other night. There is no culvert
There's no
past their property. There is no culvert that I see past their property into the canal. I don't see it anymore. I seen where there used to be a culvert somewhere, but that's
It's there.
it. No,
Yeah, it's there.
it's not.
No, there's no
No,
culvert.
there's no culvert there.
It's,
When was that?
the culvert is so rotted that it's not,
There is no culvert.
okay.
Look at it, because I just went there the other evening. I didn't see any culvert. I seen her property. I mean, I Googled it, and then I drove, because about 2 lots before the canal, you can see where somebody had a culvert. You can tell because of the shell rock there, but there's nothing inside there.
They probably took it out. or
Somebody
something.
must have yanked it
They
out.
probably did something with that, but
There's
at-
nothing there.
At that moment, I personally went with the guys and we unplugged it.
Because how I see it, water should flow easily. But now you just gave me something that I didn't know. I didn't know that
That's
that
why
culvert is collapsed.
that's why she was saying that I helped her out with that.
Okay.
Because there was,
And I believe that's our responsibility to open up the ditch.
if it's not a cover, yes.
Yeah.
If it's not a cover.
That's why I'm mentioning it to you.
545 South. All right.
Sorry. I wanted to remind all the board members that first of the year, we agree on a 3 months, 7 to 10, 7 to start time 7. And I'm the one who keeping track of the attendance.
Yes, sir.
Last month we had 21, today we have 12. So if we really want to bring the community, close to us, they're not reading, they're not following the Facebook, or because, 7 o'clock with this kind of attendance, I think it's a waste of time for us.
Okay, we said we gave it a month.
We give it 3 months. I will give it 3 months.
Okay.
3 months. So next month, March will be the 3rd month. So just, if we want to
Oh,
keep.
that's right, that's right. We meet on a monthly basis, I'm sorry.
If we want to keep this, same time, they better improve that. Otherwise, we'll go back to the old time.
This is the most amount that we've had in a very long
So,
time.
which is great, but again, if we want to keep, this 7 o'clock time, I don't mind. I could be until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, but, we want to see more people from the community to show up, if interest, if we want to make changes, not only to show up to the meeting, we are looking at the long run.
Yeah.
298, Avalon taxes, the reservoir, the ATV, a lot of stuff on the plate that if they want to make a change, they better show up.
So how many people we talk about every meeting that has to show up for us to stay 7 to whatever? Because
We need to, encourage their community to start showing up to the meeting. We have to, but again, if we can continue down, 21, 12, 7, 6, up to next one will be 30. But again, I think it's a waste of time for us here, being here, this late. Again, I don't mind. I have plenty of time to be here. I don't have nothing else.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And thank you for the ones that have stayed.
Yeah, thank you.
It is 9:30. If you look at Henry County, I think they do it in less than 45 minutes.
That's true. I was there last week to give a black and we said, I was surprised.
I think
It wasn't true.
we talk about trying to improve. I think we definitely have a lot to do because they have a bigger
This
budget.
meeting here is like high on your meeting. No.
This is a lot better.
This and that, and then you argue with your neck, we go back and we argue again.
So with, my thing is, so we'll have the basketball courts in the near future, right?
Well, no, it's already done.
No, I'm talking about the goals. I'm talking about the basketball.
Oh, yes, we just have to put it together, which we're working on that. And,
Can we, does the sponsor who donated it, want to be known or?
When that is ready, yes, it's, it was, Jewish people. They wanna come out and take some pictures and
So with that being said, just like to see if we, by any chance possible, be creative to see about more funding coming, because we have more people coming into our community. That means we're gonna have to spend more money to maintain what we have. I've seen a bunch of patches. I don't like it, Mr. Bennett. It's better than what we had, but it's not gonna last.
at least we're not losing our base.
We need to do overlays, so there's so, I know you're anxious. So again, we have a great deal to do with a little bit amount of resources. We have to be creative as much as possible to maintain what we're doing. And I think what we're doing is we're doing something good. So we do have money in reserves. It is what it is, but
I think it's important for this board to understand something, that you guys don't know exactly what we do and how we do it. I'm gonna give you guys a single example. Right now, we have a back wing that needed to be replaced. I think Daniel saw it.
And what?
A back wing.
back wing mode.
15-feet back wing.
Oh, yeah, that,
That needed to be replaced. I asked for the estimate, actually, Becky asked for the estimate to mine on Evergreen. The back wing right now is $48,000. We don't have that money to spend on a back wing. Our guys fixed that wing back to where it's almost brand new. It took them 2 hours. That's $48,000 on savings. That's what you guys don't. I know everybody's busy, but I'm just telling you so you understand.
Can I say something?
Yes.
What happened? Why don't you make it reports? Come over here and make a statement. So we know.
You're right. Maybe I should.
Because that way when we talk about overtime, when we talk about this, we say, this is how much we save.
But I think in fairness to this board or previous board.
What I mean by that is taking in consideration what Mata was saying about my guys' salaries or you guys' salaries, is that those guys goes 3 miles after they don't supposed to keep going. That's a $10,000 job what they just did out there. And they doing it out of $17 an hour.
Let me tell you,
2 days.
Mr. William, I have seen that on the pool. The recreation pool, something like that happened also. I don't recall what it was. But somebody came and they came to fix it, and then the Central County employees fixed what was wrong. So I say,
So why don't you, I know what it's gonna be, but why don't you shed the light with your office, shed the light, go to surrounding areas and get a pay scale analysis. And put pressure on your board, say, hey board, look, these are the salaries, these are the hourly wages, this is what's going on.
I know, but I fight to
Hold
give
on. Go bring it. Say, hey, this is what people, you want to know what our value is. Here's what we should be getting.
you want me to tell you?
No. Here's what we should be getting.
I can tell you
Make a
from
motion.
I don't want you to tell me. I want you the data. Bring me the data. Bring me the data. I don't want to hear talk. I want to see
Make your
data.
mother. I fought to give the
I
raise
gave you
to all the employees, and you guys told me not.
That's not true. He has that discretion as the district manager.
Remember I won on
Your
you?
mechanic's making
He
$17
has
an
the
hour?
discretion.
I'm sorry?
Your mechanic is making $17 an hour?
Yes.
The mechanic.
$18 an hour. Yes.
One of the mechanics.
What about the heavy
The other
equipment?
guy,
What was the previous mechanic making? Pedro. What's he making now?
19 something.
20. How much?
20,
It's right,
19
it's right,
something.
it's right in your, you got it right there, bro. You already know what it is.
Yeah, you can.
You got it in the salary right there.
That's probably record, by the way.
Huh?
Yeah, all this is public work. You
That's probably
got
record.
you got it right there, what they make.
No, I know, but I'm just asking because I have to go flip through it.
If you go to, it's a
You got the
website.
salaries right there.
It's a website, you can go and look at the employee salary.
Yeah.
The state, I mean,
But we have the report right here at
That's
Beck and
great.
Call. We have what they make an hour. But I'm just saying, what we do as well sometimes is we go look to see what everybody make, to see if we're in line. with-
I mean, just a single example so you guys understand. You have a lifeguard that makes $11 an hour. Here. I don't know if you guys have been looking at the news, but there's a shortage of lifeguards everywhere. Nobody wants to be a lifeguard.
There's a shortage of eggs.
If you go to the reservation, a brand new lifeguard with no experience make $18 an hour. That's $7 different.
That's minimum wage for us.
Exactly.
That's minimum wage. That's what I'm saying.
The guy from the reservation that pick up garbage start at $18 an hour. Am I right or am I wrong?
That's minimum wage.
So our guys start at 12. That's, you know.
Mr. Emilio, I've been fighting to give the employees an increase, and all of you guys told me not.
Well, we have
That's
a budget
correct.
we have to work with too, you know, I mean, the tribe works off a totally different budget than what Citrus County does. Because every time here we need to make money, we have to generate it through taxes. So I understand what you're saying. I understand.
I don't think you do, Mr. Cruzel.
Why,
I don't think you do.
enlighten me.
There's a lot of things that we do right now that was never done in Central County ever before. A lot of stuff.
But you guys can have that conversation later.
Can I finish up?
Please,
A lot of stuff.
please, Irving.
Nobody
But-
said that y'all wasn't.
But with something that I wanted to bring up to the board's attention is, we are still outdated. Central County has still not made it to the 22nd century, 21st century. We still don't have our own Facebook page. Every district, every city, every township, they all have their own Facebook page. And it's only informational. The biggest concern that everybody had here was, oh, there's going to be people who are going to comment this, people who are going to comment that. That's everywhere. I follow Fort Lauderdale, Lauderdale Hill, all of the big, major, not so inappropriate communities, if we want to say. I even follow Belgrade. You will get some of those people who would comment on something, and their comment is muted, their comment's removed.
Listen.
But the biggest thing that a lot of these cities and districts use it for is information. When I go through there, I could see stuff about, we're having a meeting at the town hall this time and this time, and you'll see 35 likes. And when you watch their meetings, you see 35 people. A lot of what happens today, no one reads the newspaper anymore. My generation does not read the newspaper anymore. They are always on social media, as well as the older generation is now being on social media. If we want to interact with our community and we want to get a lot of people to interact with us and be informed and communicate with them, we need to start moving in that direction. Either as it being an informational board where we just post stuff and let everybody know what's going on, or we can be like some of these in-depth communities where they have someone who's a public relations officer, and all they simply do is, yes, we're working on this, we're doing that, and stuff like that. I think it's time that we move in that direction, because a lot of people that ask, they said, oh, I seen it, someone else posted it on Facebook. And it's coming to that point where we need to be the voice, we need to have one system that speaks for us in unison, that can say, hey, our meetings are this time, this is what we're doing, here's the event, and that's it. And that's all.
So we nominate Daniel Santiago for that, because we have no overtime.
Well, just on that point, if you guys want to get into the Facebook thing, you guys need to vote, because some years back it was voted not to.
So what you could do also, again, some creative things also, is you have college students that need to do, what's it called, John, when they have to do community service, as well as, they work alongside sometimes, so some of this would be great experience for some of these, young people starting off business, see if they want to do, this type of work. So,
Hey, Santiago,
Well,
You can go to
we've
the
been
page.
using
Do the right
high
thing.
schoolers and,
so with that being said,
Do whatever you
thank
want,
you everyone,
though,
meeting is
Well,
adjourned.
put around the stage, friend. I even make a shot now, you know what I'm saying? Come on. We've been creative here in Montura. But let me tell you, Santiago, I love you in Montura. I love Montura. Hey, Moreno, easy on you guys, man.
And
wanna make
The
it?
reason why I said that is
Lorraine.
Second one's far too long.
Real quick, with your mother.
Always, brother.
Thank you, sir. You went by 5:45,
Thanks.
It's not that bad.